sorry, but I must interrupt this show. Later, you know what it is. Hey, Ham Solo. It's time, baby. Low. It's time how we do. Huh. Hey. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 Man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you on red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go.
Yo, what's cracking? Welcome back. I know it's been a little bit of a crazy couple of weeks. I didn't have Behind Them Sticks last week because of the Game Awards. And the week before that was a little bit of a different timed episode, I believe. But we're back at our regular time on Behind Them Sticks, which boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you. And also my phenomenal guest that I have here today, Mr. DC Gaming. What's cracking with you, brother? How you doing this evening? And thank you so much for bringing your talents over here for TSWS Gaming for the evening.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's good to be on here. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DC Gaming in the building, in the flesh. You know, chop it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first thing I always have people do when they pop up and show up is going ahead and give their details. Where can people find you and stuff like that? Where can what kind of content you got going on, or do you have any content going on? Because sometimes I just talk to gamers.
Yeah, you can really find me on Twitter. I'm on there every day. I do some posting on TikTok. I usually post my Madden clips. When I'm beating everybody down on there. I usually do some other clips. I got some Cyberpunk, some PSVR 2, all kinds of content. And then 2024, the YouTube channel is really going to start getting cranking. It's long overdue, so that's where you can find me at. Oh, side note, I was always wondering what like TSWS stand for, but now I see they said we said.
Yep, exactly. That's that's exactly what
it stands for. What is that? What is that thing he always has on his tag? Like I cannot figure what it is, but now I see.
Yep. So that's a pretty common question. So I'm actually going to be doing a show in the near future, not right now, but it's actually going to be called They Said We Said, so people actually understand more of why my channel is called that, because we like to talk about what everybody else is kind of talking about. They said, and then we go on ahead and say whatever's on our mind. So it's just kind of a random idea that we kind of had and put together. But it's but I like it. But anyways, that's brother. So as you guys can see, he has his Twitter account that he said he's on pretty much daily. You can definitely catch him in some spaces and stuff like that.
Lead instigator.
Sometimes he's hosting the space. Sometimes he's co-hosting the space. Sometimes he's just a regular speaker, and sometimes he's even a listener. But I mean, man, you be working in spaces quite a bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just like talking to the community, and not only that, they be getting chaotic, and sometimes it's funny in there. Sometimes it does get a little out of hand, but that's why you need people like me, because sometimes people get up there just saying nonsense, and I'm not trying to have that.
What is it about you that people trust, do you think? Because I see that you've had people both on the Xbox side, and you were co-hosting, and then I've seen you on the PlayStation side, and then you'd be co-hosting there as well. And it's just like, it feels like you got like a nice little balance going on there. Can you speak up on that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't really check into the tribalism that a lot of people do. I have a Switch here. I play on PC. I play on PlayStation. I don't just play in one place And I feel like you kind of limit yourself if you only are talking to some people in like one little box. And it's actually funny because before I joined the community, even though I'm heavily PlayStation, the only podcast I ever listened to was RDX and Colt Eastwood. So that
What?
that kind of explains like a little bit of why I am so maybe I don't know. I just like listening to both sides. I don't like one just sit in the box and just listen to one side tell me one thing, or just be I don't know indoctrinated into just thinking one thing and not being open to other ideas.
Well,
If that
that's
makes
phenomenal
sense.
right there. I think that's good and that's actually healthy for for these Twitter streets and whatnot because they be getting crazy, as you were saying just a little bit ago. They be getting a little crazy and a little wild.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes
definitely.
arguments be getting hot in them spaces and
And then not
whatnot.
only that,
But
it's like it's just gaming, guys. Like you don't have to take some of this stuff like so serious or so personal or tell somebody you're gonna hurt them just because they don't like your Xbox or PlayStation. That's the craziness to me, and I don't want to be subject to that at all, ever.
yeah, I feel that 100%. But yeah, as you guys can see, he's on Twitter quite a bit, and we just got done talking about that. But he also has a YouTube channel. Did you want to talk about that just briefly, real quick? It looks like you got a few followers here, a little bit. But as I was looking around, I was like, man, it's been almost a few weeks since you posted anything really on.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna get better at in 2024. I have done a couple videos. I don't know if y'all saw my Creed VR tournament that I was having, where we just had people boxing it out. I did compensate the people that participated in the tournament, and hopefully I can hold another one of those in 2024. The problem was the second I did that video, Starfield came out like a couple weeks later, and everybody wanted to play that game. So I was like, you know what? We'll take a break. We'll let y'all have a couple months for Starfield, and then all the other games came out, and I just haven't had a chance to get back. But 2024, I'm going to start doing some more PSVR 2 content, like tournaments and stuff like that, to get the community involved. And then not only that, I'm going to be playing on PC and Xbox. So if anybody ever wants to play like Halo Infinite, Sea of Thieves, which are games I'm trying to get into, I'm always down for that.
Man, I've tried to get into Sea of Thieves a few times. It's a dope game, but man, it takes just a lot of like
Time.
repetition.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah. The
technically, you'll see
repetition
that
of
with every game that's like online. Like you're just going to be doing the same thing over and over. So I guess it's just what is your patience level? Like, do you have the patience for a game like Sea of Thieves or not? I guess I'll find out because I haven't even played it yet.
No doubt. Another place that you can check out DC Gaming is on TikTok. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. How some videos be hitting and some don't, and it's just kind of wild over there. But you definitely get a fast surge of views right at the jump when you post a video, and then it's like, do people
Dead.
like it or not? And then it
Yep.
either goes crazy or it just dies. That's the algorithm I've noticed on there.
Oh yeah, the only video that keeps getting views for whatever reason is my PSVR 2 clip with the Dolphins when I was playing quarterback. That one has 12,000 views, but all the other
This one
ones,
right here?
you'll get your little initial 200 to 400 views, and you're like, oh man, this video doing good, and then you don't get nothing else because the algorithm on TikTok, everybody's posting constantly, so it's just you don't get into that viral hit in the first hour or so, then your video is going to drop off, and that's really the unfortunate thing about TikTok. Because I don't feel like they really have the lasting impact like a YouTube video can have, and it's hard to find like single content on TikTok.
Yeah, it's just a whole nother animal because it's weird because the thing about TikTok is like if you have like a long video or whatnot, you're better just use. I feel like you're better off just using YouTube.
Oh yeah,
But if you
definitely. I
have
don't
like a
post anything
short
on
video
there.
that can pick up traction quick and doesn't take too long, I feel like then you're better off on TikTok then because YouTube has a weird way of showing off of your showing off shorts if you're not already popular.
Yep.
It's just kind of weird. It's something else. But anyways, let's go on ahead and get into the actual show and the questions and whatnot. So I was asking you right before the show started, like, yo, man, what's your favorite, console? Or not your favorite console, but your the first one that you ever had, like available in the house. And you had to break it down to me and be like, man, I wasn't the only one up in the house, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're like, it wasn't that I didn't have it. It's just I couldn't play it.
Yeah. So
not freely at least.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because I have brothers and sisters, and all of them but one are gamers. So I'm the third oldest gamer. So my oldest two brothers, they're player one and player two. So like I was just saying, I don't even get to be Mario or Luigi. I'm Toad. Like I don't even get to stick. When we played Nintendo 64, I don't get the good controller. I get the controller with the broken thumbsticks. Where you can't even control right or can't shoot or whatever. But for myself personally, like the first console I had available was probably a Game Boy Color that I got for Christmas. And I was tearing up Pokemon Red on that one. And that's probably one of my greatest memories because I remember when I got the Game Boy, my brother he got Pokemon Blue, and we pretty much stayed up all night. And I think I got to the Elite 8 or no, Elite 4 in like day one. So I was just playing it so much. But other than that, we had a PlayStation that my dad would literally keep locked in his bedroom, and every time he'd leave, like we'd be lookout just so we could get a chance to play it because he wouldn't let us play it that often. And then
Yeah.
it was always like
I
that for
grew up
us.
like that too. That the PlayStation, it was the
Yep.
grown folks console.
Yep.
When I
But
was
we had
young,
a Super
I hated
Nintendo
playing
though.
Sega.
And then the first game I can vividly remember, besides my Game Boy Color, would be Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, Suzuki 8 Hours on Super Nintendo, and then dang, what else do we have? Mortal Kombat. And I think I want to say that's it. Oh, and then Looney Tunes, Buster Bust Loose. That game, that's a classic right there. I think it was Tiny Toons actually. Tiny Toons Adventures.
Oh, Tiny Toons. Yeah, I actually got a weird little game like a Speedy Gonzales game for my SNES right now. That's pretty hot. But back in that day, I was playing like Shaq Fu and like weird games like that on the SNES. So that's pretty wild. But so you went from that. When did you start to get allowed more to be able to be competitive and or actually play with the rest of the family members around the house? Or was it one of the things where you just had to more or less wait for them to kind of skedaddle?
Now, when I think,
Like go to school or move out or something like that.
yeah, because when I think about it, the first time I was actually able to like just boot up a console and play my own games without having to deal with anybody else was probably PlayStation 2. Because back then, we had memory cards, and then it's the same issue with I have so many family members. Like we all would have like a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas file, and like each of my brothers and sisters, like we'd be at different points. So my little sister, it's so funny, like she would never want to play the game. She'd like, hey, can I load your file and just drive around on the game or make my own save? And we'd all like get mad at each other, like, hey, why are you playing my save? You saved over my save. Why are you on my file? So really, I mean, technically, my own console, I really didn't have one until I guess the PS3 era, where I didn't have to worry about somebody else playing when I want to play.
Damn.
Because most of the time we were just playing multiplayer. Like I never had a chance to really play single player stuff. Like Gran Turismo, for example, is one of my favorite games of all time. But when it was on PS2, I never had my own file. Like I was playing under my brother's file, and every night, like he'd be like, "Hey, can you do this like 3-hour endurance race for me real quick?" And I would just stay up all night playing the game. And then eventually, when I got my own Gran Turismo, I didn't have to do that no more. But it was always cool though, because I learned how to tune the cars. I'd have my own car so I could use on this file, and then all the money, I earned it. So you'd be like, "Hey, you can buy whatever car you want. Go at it, have fun."
That's what's up. He probably just wanted them trophies or something like that.
Well, PS2, yeah, PS2 didn't have them at the time. Is because by the time PS3 came out, he had moved out of college, and then that's when we were doing more multiplayer stuff online. And that was really cool though, because growing up with brothers and sisters, we all got to play on the same console. When it came to the point where we could play online, like it was just so mind blowing. Like, hey man, we can really just boot up the game and play with each other. And one of the games we played the most was PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. Me and my brother, at one point we had like a 30-game win streak because he was Sackboy and I was Ratchet, and we were just going crazy. One of my best memories, actually, when I think about it.
No doubt. I mean, those are some pretty wild memories. I mean, we like if you've been a gamer for quite some time, you should always have some pretty wild, crazy memories. Whether you have,
I got so many,
or on your own with your friends or something like that.
Yep.
But I need to know now what was like during that time period, because you said that you grew up in a household, you had your own Game Boy, there was a Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, probably the OG PlayStation at some time.
Oh yeah, we had everything. Literally Xbox 360, Dreamcast. No, we literally had every console.
The works, right?
Yep.
Which thing, and you can rattle off a few if you want, but what was the first actual console that kind of like took you back, where you're just like, yo, this is unrivaled right here. This is crazy.
Oh, it's definitely got to be the PS2, if anything, because on that console we were playing Kingdom Hearts, San Andreas, all the Vice City. What's we were playing? Final Fantasy X, Gran Turismo. Dang, what else were we playing on there? Probably the PS2 though, because not only was it a DVD player and you can have all your games on there, but we also had the hard drive. We had the internet hookup. My brother used to play SOCOM all the time online. I think PS2 is definitely the one that just kind of blew me away. Just the amount of games that you had on there, the multiplayer options on there, and I think just the general fun that we had with that console because there's so many games that came out.
No doubt. There were. I mean, that is like I'm pretty sure that console had the most games of any console like of all time.
Dang, but then I think about it though, because we had a Dreamcast too, and what my brother did with the Dreamcast was we had the internet on it, and we were able to like download games. We had the burn disc and stuff like that. So maybe
Right.
that one blew me away too, because I remember we used to have the burnt CD with like Sonic Adventure 2 or NCAA 2K and Crazy Taxi, and then not only that, like we were doing emulation on it way back then. So we used to have what was it? I can't remember the name of the emulator that we had, but yeah, we were using a Dreamcast, and my I think the one that blew me away the most was when we were playing Sonic Adventure 2, and we found out we could download the chows in the Chow Garden. Oh, that was a
Yes.
game changer right there.
Into the BMUs? Is that what
Yes,
you're talking about?
into the VMU. After that point, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. Because I remember
Yeah,
there
you
was
take
like
that
a
BMU to
there's a
school and whatnot, right?
yeah, because I remember they had the Angel Chow Garden and then the Demon Chow Garden. And I remember I had like a little demon chow in the underground, and every time I would put him in a race, like he would be killing everybody in the races. And then I found out how to feed them specific animals to give them specific traits. And then once I
Mhm.
found that out, Dreamcast was so amazing. Underrated console.
Most underrated console of all time. Just
Absolutely.
it was just phenomenal in what it did for innovation. It was really like it really opened up the internet before Xbox actually came around.
Yep.
And PS2 wasn't even out yet, right? So
Nope.
and man, just the way that they brought out Sonic.
Oh
Remember?
yeah.
Because I remember the Sonic 3D before that was
Yep.
horrendous.
Yep.
That game stunk. It was on
Yeah, it did.
was on Genesis, and then they also had a port, I believe, to it onto the I want to say it was the Sega CD. It's either the Sega CD or the Saturn. Actually, it was the Saturn. It was the Saturn. So, yeah, and that thing was not fun, and it looked a lot
Yep.
better on the Saturn, sure, because obviously it's better than than the the Genesis,
Yep.
more powerful and whatnot. But it was just, it wasn't that good until they actually, and then they made Sonic CD as well, right?
Yep.
Which was fine, but once they brought over the Dreamcast version, and you're in the city and everything, and you're on the beach,
Yep.
man, that was hot. And then you had all
It
those
was.
different characters that you could beat the
Oh
game
yeah.
with as
Being
well.
Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. I have so many memories with Sonic Adventure 2. And then that intro level, City Escape. That game was incredible. It kind of surprised me though, because when I talk to people now, a lot of people actually didn't really enjoy that game because I guess they like the traditional Sonic,
Oh, whatever.
2D Sonic or whatever side scroller.
Well, hell with them, man. I thought that shit was hot.
Yeah, I thought it was fire, and I don't care what anybody thinks. That game was tight.
Yeah, the game was
And then the
real hot.
introduction of Shadow and all that. Yeah, that was fire.
But they had some phenomenal fighters on the Dreamcast as well, like
Oh yeah,
Marvel
Virtual
vs.
Fighter,
Capcom.
Marvel
Yo,
vs. Capcom. That's one thing though.
we're gonna take you for
That's
a
probably
ride.
one genre I've never really gotten into is fighting games. Yeah, I play them a little bit, but I've never gotten, I guess. And I think the problem is in our house, even though we had so many people, we were never really into fighting games like that. Like we would play everything else between sports games, shooters and stuff like that. But fighting games, like I don't think we're besides Dragon Ball Z. Other than that, we didn't really play those games like that.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z was always hot. I actually had a one of those imports. Dragon. I actually have it right here because I rebought it. This game right here. this is actually a Japanese version of it. It's Dragon Ball Z Legends,
Mhm.
and it's pretty nuts because you can actually it was actually like the first open level like Dragon Ball Z game that wasn't like just a small arena, like fighting next to each other like Tekken or something like that. It was actually a
Mhm.
game where you could fly around, you can kind of curve a little bit into the sky, so it was a little 3D, and you could do all your like power attacks and stuff like that. And I thought it was really hot for the time. But since I had the imported version, I had a spring inside of my PlayStation 1 with one of those discs that you put in, and the spring where it was to pretty much tell the PlayStation 1 that the lid was closed when it really
Oh yeah, I
wasn't.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Exactly, right? And then I'd have to put in this disc in there, have it read it, open it up, take the disc out, and then put the import game in there. And I thought that was pretty dope. Oh man, here comes Neo out here saying, "I'm gonna need DC to take a new profile pic because everywhere I go, I see the
Listen, man. Somebody
same
said this to
dude."
me earlier. I don't.
Yes,
I
they said
can't. I
that to
can't.
you. Was it yesterday?
Yes. Yeah, it was one of my friends. I can't stand y'all because y'all change your pictures every 5 minutes. Every time, every 10 minutes. I'm tired of turning around on Twitter. Y'all got these AI photos. You got your other photos. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. I've had the same photo for almost a few months. I'm not changing it. And Neo, I don't want to talk to you until you stop eating that mayonnaise. I'm serious. I'm talking to you. Stop eating that mayonnaise.
Oh
And if I
man,
see you on
yeah,
stream with a spoon of mayo again, we're gonna have some problems.
bro. Bro, put his stuff out there for everybody to see. That was funny. Good to see you, Nia. I appreciate you stopping through. But continuing down forward. So the first big thing that popped, got your eyes wide was the PlayStation 2, you said. Going down, how did you kind of navigate like what was going to be the next console for you? So let's go from the PS2. So after the PS2, how did you navigate what was next? Was it the same generation or did you wait till the next generation? Because you did mention the PS3.
Yep. So the way it was growing up for me in my house, I didn't really get to choose which video game we got. We had a PS2. My dad had an Xbox that he kept locked in his room, and it's actually a cool story. So I live near Florida, and at the time, the Super Bowl was in Jacksonville, so they had like this NFL experience thing. Some people might know what I'm talking about, but usually if the Super Bowl's in their city, they'll have like all the NFL players, and they'll have like a little big old media event. So we went down there to the NFL experience, and I got to ask Trent Green a question. And the question I asked him was like, "Hey, if you could change anything in your NFL career, what would it be?" And at this time, I think I was probably like, dang, I don't even remember what year this was. Let me look up NFL Super Bowl in Jacksonville real quick.
I've been down to that stadium only one time, and it was for I think it was called the Gator Bowl.
Yep, that's the Gator Bowl. They do that every year.
Yeah.
I've
My
only gone
brother
like
played
once or
for Notre
twice.
Dame, so
Oh, nice.
when I was telling you he was off to college when I was 5, yeah, and then I ended up seeing him like play in a few bowl games. But yeah, I remember going to the Gator Bowl to Jacksonville and whatnot. Jacksonville, wild
Oh yeah, that Jacksonville. You don't want to come
man.
down here. I'll tell you that. Duval is a wild place. But this was in 2005. So after I asked him that question, you're like, "Oh yeah, that was a great question. We're gonna give you guys a free Xbox." So that's how we got our
What?
Xbox. That we didn't have to use our dad's. Because I guess the question was so good, they gave us that. So that's how we got the Xbox. And then after that, my brother got a GameCube for Christmas. So we had all three there. And
Damn.
then when we got the PS3, my brother bought that. But then he took that to college, and I think my parents bought us a PS3 for at home. And then of course we had the 360 as well, because the 360 came out a year earlier, right?
Yeah, I believe it was what
Yep.
2005, 2006 or something like that.
Yep.
That
Yep.
console came out. I want you to go back and about the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube generation. I want you to
Mhm.
tell me each favorite game for each console that you had that you can remember.
For Xbox, obviously, that's going to be Halo 2. Just because the multiplayer that we had in the house, we had 4 people, so that was cool. I don't think we had our original Xbox hooked up online, so we just did local co-op, which is fun enough. I mean, we already had 4 people, so you don't really need to hop online for that. Only problem is, you're playing split screen. Everybody's looking at each other's screen. You're getting mad. Hey, stop looking at my screen. You're trying to cover up your little sister's eyes. Like, oh, stop looking at my screen. Get over here. For GameCube, oh man. For GameCube, it'll probably be a tie between Twilight Princess and the Lord of the Rings Return of the King game. If anybody's ever played that game, you know what I'm talking about, because the multiplayer in that game was lit. You know, you have one person being Legolas, the other person Aragorn or Gimli. You run around beating the levels, man. That
I
was a
never
great
played that
time.
one.
I wish they would make those games like that again. It actually shocks me that they don't have another multiplayer Lord of the Rings game like that. But for
It
PS2,
might be
that's
something. I don't know. Doesn't correct me if I'm wrong, but does Amazon own that IP right now?
they do. Yep. So we'll see what they do, because I know they own the Tomb Raider and the Lord of the Rings IP, and hopefully it's not like Golem. I don't know if we can put that one on Amazon.
Yeah, nah. I think they're a little nervous about Lord of the Rings after that whole Gollum thing, because that was tragic.
Yep. But
All
then
right,
for
so
PS2 is difficult because a lot of my greatest games of all time are on PS2, because I loved all the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. I'm a Kingdom Hearts stan. I love Kingdom Hearts. Playing 1 and 2 for the first time was incredible. As I mentioned before, I played a lot of Gran Turismo. San Andreas was amazing. Final Fantasy X, I sunk hours and hours and hours into that game. I can't even pick a favorite PS2 game, because there's just so much on that console and the games available. And then not only that, my favorite game might even be like a demo disc game, because I remember there's this game called Robot Alchemist Drive, and it came on one of those PS1 demo disc. And it was almost like a Gundam game where you run around like as this. I think it was either two characters. You could pick a guy or a girl. And at one point, like, you get this huge giant mech, and you're like fighting across the whole city against another mech. And I never played the full game, but that demo just like stuck with me forever, because it was just a super cool concept. Because back then you didn't really see battles or fights to that scale unless you're playing what, Shadow of the Colossus. Because other than that, you didn't really see anything on that scale.
no doubt. Okay, so moving on to the next generation, you had mentioned the PS3. You also mentioned the
Hmm.
360 and whatnot.
Yep.
Where's the Wii?
Oh yeah, I had a Wii too. Wii and a Wii U.
Okay, all
Got them
right.
all.
So
Literally every console.
I
every
want you to
single
talk
one.
about Nintendo first in this situation. So when it comes to the Wii, without mentioning Wii Sports, what was some of the hottest games that you played repeatedly and with other people?
For the Wii, it would probably be Mario Galaxy
Mm.
and Skyward Sword. And then
Okay.
other than that, I don't think the Wii got too much time out of me. I think I did a lot of virtual console stuff. But other than that, for the big main Wii games, I never really got around to this, because this one I was playing more on the PS3. Yeah, I was on PS3 more. The Wii in that generation, I think it went PS3 for me. That's where I started being more of a heavy PlayStation gamer. And then I played 360 like through the first half, and then eventually I stopped playing Xbox, and then I was just playing on PlayStation pretty much.
Okay. So what was the allure for you that generation? Like you said, the PS3 you were playing the most, but like what
Yep.
about the PS3 was so engulfing for you during
I think
that
it
period?
was I think it was just the games available, because through the 360, like the early games I was playing, it was really just NCAA, Madden, Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter, which I really wish they would remaster that game, because that game was awesome with the tactical and team stuff, and the TDM and stuff in that game was awesome.
Oh, that team stuff,
Um,
man, with like aiming down the sights and sink
yes,
shots and
and then
stuff
not
like
only that,
that.
like the little I can't remember what it was called, but I remember they had like tools and stuff where you can I just remember it was like a diamond for identifying enemies and stuff. I forgot how you do it, but there was just so much cool stuff about Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter.
And it was tight.
Um,
It wasn't so open like the Ghost
yeah,
Recon's now, where it's just
yeah,
like
and the levels
good
aren't and
luck.
the levels weren't like super huge. Like they were just the perfect size. Everything was perfect about that game. I never played the second one. I only played the first one, because I think after that point I stopped playing Xbox. But the only thing I really played, I think, was Ghost Recon, Halo ODST. Um, I can't really remember anything else on Xbox I was playing. But for PlayStation, I think the allure was those are the kind of games I was playing. Like I'm a huge Infamous fan, so I was playing the Infamous games, Ratchet and Clank, which is my favorite game of all time.
All
Um,
time.
all time. Uh,
Which one in particular?
All of them, all the Ratchet and Clanks, all those games are awesome. But Rift Apart was also great. I just wish it was a little bit longer.
Right. For
Um,
sure.
but other than that, dang, what else was I playing on PlayStation 3? Oh, PlayStation All Stars, Infamous, and then it was all of the little indie games that they were bringing to
Uncharted.
PS3 at the time, like Resogun. I actually didn't play Uncharted for quite a
What?
time. So here's the other funny thing. So because my brother was also on PlayStation at that time, there's a lot of games where I would just watch him play those. So like Uncharted, for example, he was always playing those games, and I would be playing Ratchet and Clank and Infamous. He'd be playing Tomb Raider. I'd be over here playing, a different kind of game. So that's kind of how we it's not like it was like by design, like, hey, I'm gonna play this, you're gonna play this. That's just kind of the way it worked out.
That's just how it
And then
rocks.
by watching him, like I was like, why would I want to play it when I watched him play this? Like for example, I've never played Mass Effect, but that's because I watched my brother play it like all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just you good with what you seen, and then other times it's just like for a game like Uncharted. I mean, I understand having the feeling of playing it, but once you see that whole story, you kind of just get it.
Yep. But I have went back and played through some of those on the Uncharted collection on PS4, and that's also another interesting point because I actually never played The Last of Us on PS3 either because I watched my
Whoa.
brother do it. So I didn't play The Last of Us until PS4 Pro on the remastered version, and that's another reason why I don't buy into the argument where people are like, oh, they remaster or re-release this game. Well, yeah, but there's still a lot of people that never touched the game or didn't have a chance because they didn't have a console back then.
Sure, but would like what do you think about people just like in my opinion remasters are fine. But when you're
Yes.
when it feels like that's all you're doing.
Oh yeah, that's a problem. I don't like trying to think of an example. I guess Naughty Dog's a good example at this moment because, like, for example,
Yeah,
for this generation right now, this just been remasters.
Uncharted, Last
There's
of
no new
Us,
content. Yeah,
nothing new from them. Not a new thing from them other than
but I tell you, who did drop a new game? Insomniac, Ratchet and Clank. Trying to tell
Insomniac's
you.
crushing it.
Yep,
Insomniac's really putting play. I mean, they're like the radio
they
on
are.
over the top of the head. Trying to holler at that girl in the window. Right? Come
Yep. Yeah,
outside.
they're carrying PlayStation for sure right now.
I mean, man, they have taken the spot as my favorite developer for PlayStation. After I finished all of the Uncharted's, I was like, man, it's Naughty Dog. But Naughty Dog just hasn't shown me anything for a little while. So I mean, I understand Last of Us 2 was only like what 3 years ago, three
Hmm.
and a half years ago, or whatever. Or actually, no, like 3 years ago exactly, pretty much, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so
About 3 years
so so
ago.
so I get that, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like we seen that coming.
Yep.
I kind of want something from Naughty Dog that I didn't see coming. Like with Insomniac, it's like we got Spider-Man, Miles Morales came out, and then we kind of seen Spider-Man 2 coming. We
Yep.
assume they're gonna do another Ratchet and Clank, but when they announced Wolverine,
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'll be patient. Take your
Yeah.
time.
They take their time. I'd be patient. And it's not like they take their time anyway. I don't know what's in the water up there where they're working at, but
And found the
the way
youth.
they're putting these games out, it's insane. Especially during COVID, where a lot of people had to push stuff back, and they were still just moving along as if it was nothing. It's actually incredible. Hats off
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Insomniac.
They put a game out right after like the big situation of COVID, Miles Morales, and then while everybody was delaying, they're like, "How about Ratchet and Clank?" And
Yep.
it's just like, "Yo, what are y'all doing?" And then they're like, "Yo, we got Spider Man coming, in another year and a half."
Yep. I mean, a lot of people didn't think it would make this year, which arguably you could say they might have been better off maybe with a couple week or maybe a month delay just to iron out some of the bugs that we did see at launch. But it's still launched in a pretty decent state.
Yeah, they could have definitely used the new game plus at launch.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw they are saying it's going to come early 2024 now. Which I mean, I guess I can get it. I don't know if they don't want to crunch their employees after they just drop that game, and then maybe they're giving them some holiday time off. And it's like, hey guys, when we come back, this can be our priority. January 1st, let's hit the ground running. Let's knock this out, and then we can get to our next project or whatever we're gonna do next.
All right. Well, oh damn, my wife just hit me up. She's like, "Hey, come to the door and trade me." She wants her Elite controller. So just one quick sec.
Yeah, no problem. So, anyways, this is now the DC Gaming Show, guys. Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to take longer. This is like the Spaces takeover I do, gal. You know what I mean?
No, my wife
Taking it over.
my wife texted me and she said, "I need my controller," and then I gave her the controller and she's like, "Give me that headset as well."
Dang.
Hey man, I ain't mad.
She, girl, she holding you up.
Bug
She
me
said, now,
anytime if she needs the game. She can
next
bug
thing you
me
know, she's like, "Yo, let me get that mic too." You don't need that.
I know,
DC's
right?
the host
Take
now.
it
It's
myself.
this his show. This ain't even your show no more.
Oh man, oh Lord
Let me
Almighty!
stop.
All
Let me
right,
chill
so
out.
let's keep it pushing. So the next thing I kind of wanted to ask you about is the very next generation after that, which is obviously the PS4, Xbox One generation, Switch eventually.
Yep.
PC's starting to get hot though, right?
Yep.
PC's starting to get extra hot. I mean, you can argue and say, man, PC's been hot, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I'm talking about just keeping up with the Joneses kind of things. Like
Yep.
graphics, the games, most importantly, are starting to fly out over there more often. And then, Xbox really decided to dive in to the boat towards the end of the generation of the Xbox One and say, hey, you'll see all our games over there too now, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to this generation with PlayStation here in just a little bit because they're even starting to kind of, dive more into PC and stuff like that. They're kind of doing it in a confusing way.
Yep.
But they're doing nonetheless. So I want you to talk about first. I'm going to assume the Xbox was probably the least played thing for you, depending on how you kind of put stuff in the perspective a little bit. Because it was a rough generation.
Yeah, I never touched an Xbox that generation. I never had Xbox One. I never played anybody else's Xbox One. I never booted it up. I never touched it at all. Not one time.
I ain't gonna lie. It sounds like you hated Xbox at that time.
Well, no, it's not really that. It's more so during this time. This was 2013 to 2016, where I didn't even have my own console available to me. I was mostly playing on my brother's PlayStation and whatever he had. And I actually didn't even get my own PS4 until the PS4 Pro in 2016, 2015. So in between that time, I mean, whatever he had on his console, that's what I was playing. And I mostly attribute that to college and struggling as a college dropout.
Yeah, I was going to say that had to be it because you sound like me during my lull.
Oh, yeah. Man, listen, when you work in a job and it's... I ain't gonna get all of that, but yeah, this was a rough patch.
But between the original Xbox and the 360 was that struggle that you're talking about. That was for me because I had my original Xbox, way longer than I should have because I was too broke to upgrade to the 360. So I'd always go to my boy's house to go play 360 or stuff like that. And that was back when the EA games came out and started being trash. Right, because you remember at that generation, the last generation, the PS2 and the original Xbox had better versions.
Oh yeah, don't even get me get me started on that because the PS.
I'm sorry,
and it's not only that, and maybe it's just because with the PS3 generation, that's where NCAA ended. That was one of my most beloved games of all time. I still actually have 2 PS3s. I have one that's jailbroken just to play NCAA with the college football event mod on it. Yep. So I got the mod on that one, and then I have another PS3 that's just stock that I kept. But yeah, on the PS2 and Xbox generation, yeah, those games, they all had way better sports versions, and I just feel like it was I don't know, maybe it was a casualty of the HD generation where games just came out a lot more sloppier than we remember. Because we were promised, games are going to be awesome and this, that, and the other. For the PS3, it was pretty rough for a while. Like every game ported over there was rough because the 360 was the lead development platform, and the only good games that you did see were exclusives or Sony first party. Outside of that, most of the games ran really rough or poorly.
Man, yeah, for sure. Like I remember hearing people dog on Skyrim.
Oh yeah,
How that
I
ran on
didn't
the
even play it on PS3 because I heard it was garbage. I did play it on PS4 eventually, but yeah, that's the biggest problem with PS3, and I think one of the big mistakes for Sony because I want to say they missed out on Mass Effect on PS3 as well, didn't they? Didn't that only come
Um,
on PS4 or something like that, or
they,
came
they,
super
they didn't
late?
get Mass Effect until I think what was it, 2? Mass Effect 2 or like an
Yeah,
anniversary or something like
yep,
that?
that's what it was. Yep, because they didn't get it at launch. It was on Xbox at first only.
That's right. Okay, so there's the Xbox, the PS3.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Switch now because the Switch kind of came out halfway through that generation, maybe a little over halfway through
hmm
that generation. Where were you at? Were you like, I mean, were you still kind of, doing your thing, the whole college thing or whatnot, or were you
So
available
I
to buy
actually
it?
didn't. I actually didn't get a Switch for a minute. I really wanted one, and the only reason I hold out was I kept hearing the Pro rumors, and this was in 2018, 2019. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get a Switch right now. I'll just hold out. I'll just hold out and wait for the Pro.
He
And then
said,
by
"I'm
the
gonna hold
time,
out and wait."
yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I don't need the Switch right now. I'm playing everything on PS3. I was playing through literally everything on PlayStation. I was like, you know what? I can wait for the Switch. I'll just wait for the Pro. And then COVID came, and then eventually, I want to say it was only a couple months into COVID. I think May. I folded and I got a Switch Lite at first.
He said
And
he
then
folded.
yeah, because I was like, you know what? I can't wait for the Pro anymore. I
He
don't know if
got
it's
the
going to
cheaper
come.
one
Let me
after
just get the
folded.
Switch Lite for now. Well, that's all I could get because you got to remember
I
during
know.
COVID, like everything was gone. Like the second I wanted to get a Switch,
Facts. Those
sold out.
switches
COVID hit,
were
and I couldn't get anything.
expensive during COVID too. They were taxing.
Yeah, they were taxed. So like, dang, all I could get is a Switch Lite, and then the second I could get an OLED, upgraded to the OLED, and I sold my Switch Lite. And actually, I sold it for a premium because I sold it on eBay. I think for $240 because I had some accessories. So it was really only a $50 upgrade to the OLED for me.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. What's up, Sunny Slim popping up in the chat.
Shout
What's
out to Sony
cracking? He
Slim.
says, yep. He says, yep, Mass Effect 2, and then Mass Effect 1 came with the Mass Effect trilogy after 3 came out.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
my
I need to
memory
get to that
did not
eventually.
fail me. Even though I never owned a PS3 until a couple years ago because I was all Xbox during that time period. I did remember like being like, "Ha, we got that Mass Effect. Y'all ain't got that Mass Effect though."
Yeah.
I remember that back in that time. But
I don't think I was
anyway,
really in the trenches back then like that. I think it was just more so just seeing what they would say online. I don't think I was very like, oh man, I don't want that. That's an Xbox game. I'm not touching that. More so, I just didn't have the means to
I
get one,
100% was back
or
then.
I didn't know anybody on Xbox. That's really what it was. I didn't know anybody on Xbox like that.
But see,
Everybody
I
I knew
wasn't
was on
doing it
PlayStation.
online. I was doing it in person with my friends and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Because my friend, I had this homeboy named Jordan that used to I had the party house, right? Because it's like college kind of time period and whatnot. I had the party house. We had a 360 at that time. He was the one that had the PS3. He was, the man with the money and stuff like that. So we was like, oh, you got that. He went and got one of them HDMI cables. Those suckers were like $100 back in the day.
I remember that era. Man, you got to go to Best Buy and get you a monster cable. $80.
Yes. So
$80.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So
that was back before everybody knew HDMI. All cables were pretty much the same. Like you thought you had to go to Best Buy and get that.
But the cool thing about PlayStation at that time was that Blu-ray drive, right? We were watching shitty movies. We were watching horrible movies just because we had a Blu-ray drive. And we were like, oh, we can actually do something with this with the HDMI TV. 1080p was the big deal back in that time period. I remember Xbox was able to go up to only like, what was it, 720 at that time?
Well, yeah, because that was before they got the HDMI upgrade on the back. Because I think at first it was a component. So I think it was a 1080i, maybe. I don't know if it was full 1080p. I think it was either 720p or 1080i, one of those two.
I'm pretty sure it was I. But all right. So, but we're moving backwards now. So let's continue to move forward so we can get through this topic. Um, Now we're up to current consoles now, right? Xbox
Yep.
Series S, X,
Yep.
PS5. Which one did you have first? They were hard to get. Keep in mind.
PS5. I never had a Series S or X. I've only been playing on PC. But for the PS5, I actually got super, super lucky. I got mine on launch day, a digital edition. And the way I got mine was so the day before the PlayStation Direct went up, I accidentally had overslept. And some friends of mine ended up getting one on Best Buy, and I was so mad because I'm like, oh man, these people are casuals. Like, I'm really about to miss out on the PS5 because I didn't wake up in time. Like, if they could have got one, I knew I could have got one. So when I went on the PlayStation Direct, I got put in the queue, and I was pissed because the queue's time was like 3 hours or something like that.
Mhm.
And then I accidentally hit the refresh button on accident, and it skipped
Oh,
me in front of
shit.
the whole queue. And I heard a whole bunch of people had that figured out how to do that, but I figured out how to do that. I entered my account details in so quick, and then I got the little confirmation code. I'm like, yes, let's go. So I've had my PS5 since launch, and it's been running fine. I've had no issues or anything like that. I know some people are like, oh, don't put it in standby mode with the external drive attached. I never had that issue. And I keep this thing on all day. Like, I don't know if you saw my PS wrap up where I had 2,300 hours played for last year. And I want to say it was about the same the year before that. So let's see. I've had my PlayStation on for almost probably 6,000 plus hours at this point.
Okay.
And I was thinking of swapping for a slim model because I have a digital. And I was like, maybe if I ever want to buy a disc game, I could switch. But that doesn't make any sense to do that when the Pro is possibly around the corner. So I'm gonna do like I did with the Switch. I'm just gonna wait it out.
No
If it
doubt.
ain't
No doubt.
broke, don't trade it in. The new saying.
For sure. All right. And then as for the Xbox, you said you've yet to, or you don't have one of those. Do you even have any plans on even getting
Well, now that I have a PC, no, I don't have any plans on getting one because I can play everything on PC and it's cheaper with PC Game Pass. So
it? Is
um,
like $10 a month.
unless I can walk into a store and find a Series X for like $200, no, I'll probably be on PC. They're trying to get us with that Series S. I mean, they're selling it for 150.
Well, yeah,
I was
$1.40, $1.50.
Yeah, they were selling it for a bag of Skittles. It's crazy. I didn't know they would do that, but you know.
And you're and what would be like a reason for you to even get one at this point? Seeing that you have your PC and whatnot, I'm sure you probably have a decent CPU and GPU.
Yeah, I do. The only reason I would get one is just ease of use and also the ability to play Final Fantasy 13 in 4K. So right now I have it on my PC and it runs great, but it'd be cool to be able to get those achievements on my Xbox profile that I'm trying to build up now that I'm playing on PC.
Yeah, that is some of the problems, like your EA games, your
Yeah.
Ubisoft games and stuff like that. You don't get no achievos.
Yeah, and then not only
Yeah.
that, like everything's separated. Like you have the Steam store, you have the Epic Game Store, all these other stores. It'd be nice if I just had one central place to get all the trophies on PC. So maybe somehow, some way, I can find Xbox for super cheap, and I'd have no problem hopping on board. But until then, I'm satisfied with my PlayStation, my Switch, and PC gaming for myself at the moment.
Well, do keep in mind that if any of
Microsoft
those
still gets my
games,
money, guys. I got that PC Game Pass, so they're still getting my money.
oh
Just keep
yeah,
that in mind.
but also keep in mind that whatever games that you end up playing and you get pretty far in, if they do have that cross playability, going ahead and just turn it on in the cloud version, and your achievos will start popping.
Oh yeah, so cool story. I actually I didn't have a PC until like 2 months ago or so. So when I was actually playing Starfield, the way I did it was I did it through GeForce Now plus Game Pass.
Yo, I
So
heard
now
that's
when
actually nice.
yeah, it was actually pretty nice. There was like no lag. The only thing I disliked about the GeForce Now slash Xbox experience is every time you boot it up, you have to log in with your username and password every time. And I was playing on my TV with no lag. So I would have to keep connecting my wireless keyboard and mouse to the TV, had to type it in, log in, connect my controller. It was just too much work. But when I got my PC and I booted up over here, my saves and everything came right over. I didn't have to do anything. And I think that's one thing I know some people have had issues with PlayStation when they're either migrating or moving consoles. Sometimes that automatic upload isn't on, or if your subscription lapses for whatever reason, sometimes they'll automatically turn off that automatic save upload.
which is wild, but
Yep.
is what it is. Um,
Yep.
okay, so as for the way this generation's kind of gone on, I've been saying you don't have to agree with me if you don't want to, but like I've been saying it's been pretty interesting that the launch year 2020 PlayStation kicked off phenomenal.
Yep.
Xbox flopped the first year. It just honestly, I'm an Xbox fan. I'm telling you straight up, it flopped. The
Yep.
launch, the launch year. It was cool that they had quick resume and some of these, games and Game Pass with the S and X stuff, but it's just like when you were looking for something new, man, when you turned on the console for the first time, it was just the same
Same
thing.
everything, same controller, same experience. Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard that a lot from a lot of the. I heard that a lot from RDX when I was listening to them around that time. I tell you what, though, they scared me though when they were always talking pre-launch like, "Oh, PS5 it only has software ray tracing. It can't do this, that." I'm like, "Dang, like, do I need to go get an Xbox? Like, I'm kind of, am I picking the right console on launch?" But
Oh shit.
I guess it worked out fine for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, PS5 had a great 2020. It was only like the last few months of it, and then going into 2021, they were fairly good. Xbox had a good 2021, but then 2022 came. PlayStation is back on top,
Yep.
with
It's
God
almost
of
alternates like
War,
every other year almost.
Horizon, Gran Turismo,
Gran
and the
Turismo,
in the timed exclusives of like
Final
um
Fantasy.
well, I wasn't even
Uh
thinking Final Fantasy. I was thinking of
just
time
first party.
exclusive. I was thinking of like time
Oh,
exclusive of
sorry,
like
my bad.
Deathloop.
That's that one. I guess we don't know if that was a time exclusive. My bad.
Right. And so
Uh, it's on
so I was
PC.
thinking of like Deathloop and like Ghostwire
Oh yeah,
Tokyo
Deathloop.
being timed exclusives as
Yep.
well. Um, they just had a great 2022 year, and God of War almost ran away with the game of the year, right?
Yep.
And then you go to 2023, it's
And
mighty
it flops
quiet.
again. Yep.
It's mighty quiet over there on PlayStation, and then Xbox is loud again. Yeah, they had a awful yell in the summer with Redfall, but then they continued forward with Starfield, which ended up being a hit. Whether you agree with it or not, it's just a fact. It was a hit. And
Yep.
then
Forza.
Forza came out. They also had Hi-Fi Rush at the beginning of the
Beginning of the
year.
year.
And then
Yep.
on top of all of those games that came out, it was wild with seeing all of the showcases. Like they had like 5 different showcases that they were
Yep.
part of. One of them was their very own, or actually 2 of them was their very own, being the developer direct and then the
Yep.
Xbox showcase. And
Yep.
then they also got Activision Blizzard. So it was just like
Yep.
a monster year this year for Xbox. And then we look at 2024, and that's where my question for you comes up. What do you expect out of both consoles in 2024?
So for I guess I'll start with PlayStation. For PlayStation, I'm expecting hopefully, I think at the start of the year, hopefully they will finally start showing more of what they have in development. Because for the most part, we still really, yes, we know they're working on stuff, but we don't really know what. Like we haven't seen what Sony Ben is working on. We haven't seen what Sucker Punch is. That's another developer who's been probably quiet for a little while after Ghost of
Ghost
Tsushima.
of Tsushima
We
2,
know
come
a
on,
sequel.
let's
We know a sequel's
go.
coming, but we don't have any information on it.
Ghost of Tsushima was hot, man. I love that game.
Concord, Marathon. I mean, there's so much that we haven't really heard of from them. Like you mentioned earlier, it's a little disappointing that Factions was canceled, but I think they got way too ambitious, and I've been saying that for a while that I don't. I think where they mess up at is where they got too ambitious and they tried to include a campaign plus multiplayer. Because at that point, you're making a just another Last of Us game. And then not only that, when you do that multiplayer thing, especially if it's a live service, like you got to have roadmaps. So with The Last of Us, like we already know what characters they have. Like it's not like a Call of Duty where you can just keep making new characters out of nowhere. Like if you're gonna do that in the Last of Us universe, you got to have campaign, you got to have story behind it, you got to have content with it.
Yeah, you can't just make a person and
Yeah,
call them Shelly.
and then
part of
and
the
then
game.
like their cancellation note saying, if we really wanted to make The Last of Us as ambitious as we wanted, that would have cost us somewhere with our single player stuff, and I don't think we wanted to do that. So
Which is brilliant. And
yeah.
in a way it is, but here's another question I wanted to ask you just with that specific topic itself, since the news is so, fresh right now. I want to know what you think of Bungie kind of being in the middle of all of that noise.
So Bungie.
Because they fucking up themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing a lot of people didn't really look at or talk about with Destiny and Bungie. Because it looks like now that we have Foresight, it looks like they were having a lot of issues that maybe wasn't just in plain sight, but now that the can's been kicked down the road a little bit, or now we're seeing, okay, well, they didn't really have a plan for Destiny. How are they going to have a plan for all these PlayStation games? Like, you can't even keep your own house clean. How are you going to come over here and tell me, hey, get that off the floor? That don't look right. Well, hold up. Did you see how your house is painted right now? Like, you got chip paint, you got bricks missing from your house. You gonna come over here and tell me what to do? I don't know about that. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think obviously Sony made a gamble because they saw that at the time Destiny was one of the bigger live service games on the planet. And I know the Bungie acquisition came a little bit after ABK, but they said that was already in the works for them. And I think it was mostly just them trying to find like a live service outlet to help jumpstart what they wanted to do versus build it from the ground up, which, as you see, they're struggling to do.
Yeah,
and then same with Microsoft. They didn't want to have to build anything else from the ground up. That's why they started buying all these studios. Because ownership is better than just making a deal or partnership. It's only just, hey, can they maintain this now that they have this control? Are they going to be able to keep printing money? Are they going to be able to resurrect and fix the issues with COD? Because I know a lot of people do have issues with that game and series.
How do you answer your own questions right there? I want to know what.
That's what happens when I just be talking. I just be talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, that's where it is.
Do you think? Do you have faith that Xbox is going to be able to maintain what they purchase?
Well, I think it depends on what you're asking about. For like Call of Duty and stuff like that, I don't think they will, because they want to pull all those studios off of Call of Duty. The reason Call of Duty is what it is because they have all the support and stuff on it. Well, what's it going to look like when you take all these support studios and you start letting them make their own games? Is that main COD pillar going to be able to do what they need to do? It's just mostly like a wait and see thing, I guess. I don't want to put too much on it, but my only reason I don't have faith is because if you start pulling developers and stuff off that project, it's not going to be the same thing. They just got to wait and see, I guess, how they handle it, or if they're just going to let them do what they do.
Okay. All right, that's interesting. I'm not sure yet because I know that they just opened up another or they opened up like 2 more Infinity Ward studios. One in Austin, I believe, and another one overseas somewhere. And I don't remember where exactly that other one that's overseas. It's like in Poland or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But it looks like they're trying to throw some like replace the support with something else, and we'll just have to, and more or less, we're just going to have to let time tell us whether that was a good idea or not. Ideally, I think that'd be a good idea because it'd be nice to see, a Toys for Bob and stuff like that have their own games instead of.
Oh yeah, definitely, I'm all for that.
Screen of Call of
Duty. Yeah, and then my only other thing on that is hopefully those developers are able to still do that because a lot of them have been COD support studios for a while. So hopefully we have faith to let them do their own projects, and hopefully it all works out as it needs to be. I think Toys for Bob, though, they're a good developer. I know they've done stuff other than Call of Duty. It's more so the other support studios that they have, because I know they got a ton of stuff with the ABK deal in terms of IP and studios and support and staff. So we'll just see how it works out, how they consolidate. Because I know there's going to definitely be some consolidation and restructuring, just so they can make sure they put their focus where they want to be. Where it's whether it's new IPs like that they're working on. Like I think there's a rumored Call of Duty type IP that they're supposedly working on that's new. I know they're talking about bringing Hexen back. Like, which team is going to work on that? What's their experience? What are they working on now that gives them confidence to make Hexen? There's a lot of stuff. Most of it's just wait and see.
No doubt. And then on the other side, over for PlayStation, you look, to the side, you look across the street as like from the PlayStation side, you look across the street and see Xbox, and you're like, they got Bethesda, they got Activision, they're all over the place. They like just yesterday they announced that go play Game Pass on Meta.
Yep.
Meta Quest.
Oh yeah, I saw that, the xCloud on Meta.
Yeah, which I tried out last night, and it is, I'm gonna be honest, it's wishy-washy right now.
Yeah, I think the issue with
It's a
xCloud
beta.
right now is depending on where you are, xCloud is hit or miss. Like I see some people where they can connect in minutes. Other people, it takes them hours to get in the queue, and it's laggy now. So I mean, it just depends on where you're at with xCloud. But if they have their plan set up like they want, where they're going to have servers and stuff everywhere, I'm expecting the service to improve over time or get better than what it is now.
Sure. But as I was trying to kind of finish off by saying, you look and see all that stuff kind of working for Xbox this year. Let's be honest, PlayStation dropped more hardware than they did games.
Yep.
With the Portal, I'm
PSVR 2
controller. I think the controller was last year.
Yep. Oh no, DualSense Edge was this year. I think.
Was that this year? The Edge?
I
thought it was last year.
I want to say it was this year, but let's double check real quick.
Yeah, but they got the earbuds as well. They got the VR. And I mean, I'm a fan of everything but the Portal, of all those things. I don't care if somebody gets it. I'm not going to tell them that they're an idiot for getting it. That's just not for me, because like I have plenty of other things that do cloud gaming already. And yeah, having that DualSense feeling would be phenomenal. It's just, I already have a Steam Deck and I can play PlayStation Cloud Gaming and remote play on there. So it's just like, what would I really be doing with an extra $200?
Yeah, that's why I didn't get one yet, because I do remote play on my laptop right now, and I would love to have one, but it's kind of a hard sell because it's literally just going to be a device in my house. And when you have a nice, beautiful OLED like this, like why would I not want to play on my TV? Like why would I want to play on the go? But then I say that, and then I'm going to Maryland this weekend. That's like, dang, I wish I had a Portal for my downtime. But I mean, I guess I could always just use my laptop. But I guess it's just a ease of use thing with the Portal.
No doubt, no doubt. But the end of that question was, all right, you're looking across the street from the PlayStation side, and you see all that Xbox has done this last year. What do you think PlayStation needs going forward, other than, I mean, obviously you can say games,
Yep.
right? Or just announcements, more or less. Like in my opinion, when I look at PlayStation and somebody says, hey, what do you think they need? I think they need more clarity between the customer and
that's what I was going to say. Communication. Because right now, like as I mentioned, we don't really know anything with the other studios. The only stuff we do know about is like Concord, Marathon. We know about Wolverine, but they have a whole bunch of other studios that are working on stuff. We supposedly have a new IP with Cory Balrog. We don't really know anything about that. We know Sucker Punch is working on something
like that.
Yeah, they said it's like a space thing. But also, Naughty Dog is supposed to be doing like a sci-fi space IP for their new single player title. Yeah, I mean, I think they need more communication and better clarity. I think when they do these shows, they need to do them a lot better. They need to have their actual content in them because if I remember correctly, the last PlayStation State of Play, it's kind of weird because when the generation started, the PlayStation State of Plays had a pretty good reputation. As time has gone on and they've become more secretive and less communicative, I think the State of Plays have kind of lost their allure a little bit, where people aren't really always looking forward to them because they might just be nothing, or they might just show a whole bunch of third-party deals instead of what they actually have. In my opinion, I think if you're going to have a PlayStation State of Play, if you're going to put your name on it, you need to make sure you have a majority of your content there. Don't have like all these other things on there. Yeah, it's cool if you have Final Fantasy in there and whatever, but I mean, that's not what I'm looking at the State of Play for. Like Square Enix can do their own little show for that. I'm coming to the State of Play to see what's up with PlayStation, what's up with first party. Like what are you doing there? I can get the third party stuff elsewhere. Like we have plenty of time for that. Show me what you're working on. And not only that, your time is valuable when you're putting yourself in front of your consumers like this, especially on a State of Play. They're expecting to see that stuff, and when they don't see that stuff, that can put them off. And I know a lot of people that were put off by that last State of Play, especially if you're not a PlayStation gamer.
Yeah, I was 100% put off by that because I was just like, man, they're talking about
Yeah, and then
move,
because you're
they're talking
yeah,
about
and you're an Xbox
movie,
gamer.
earbuds, the Portal,
Oh,
and then they showed me Spider-Man, and
even
Spider, and I
even though
already
I'm a
knew Spider-Man was going to be there, so it wasn't even surprising, right?
yeah, even though I'm a huge Gran Turismo fan, I can't believe they showed the trailer there. And I want to say the movie was already out at that point too. And I'm like, oh man, they're showing a trailer. It's crazy.
It was something.
Not the
It was
not the
wild.
GT trailer.
All right, so now I want you to kind of answer for each platform. I don't want this to be just PlayStation or just Xbox or Nintendo. I want you to tell me what you're worried about going forward with each of these platforms. And the first one I'm going to start off with is Nintendo.
So with Nintendo, I guess the biggest worry is with the Switch 2, how is backwards compatibility going to work? Like,
That's
I
a
have a ton
very
of
good question.
I have a ton of games on my Switch. Like I have Mario Kart, I have Breath of the Wild, I have Tears of the Kingdom, I have like 4 Pokemon games, I have Smash Brothers, I have Mario RPG, I have Dragon Quest Monsters, Octopath Traveler. How is backwards compatibility going to work? Can I expect improved performance or improved frame rates on some of these games? Are you guys going to patch any of these games, or are you going to try and sell patches like PlayStation did? Like how is that going to work with those games? That's really my biggest worry for Nintendo because we already know they're going to bring the games. Like you don't even got to question that. The games are going to
Right.
go there. You don't got to worry about that. I'm not worried about playing third party. I know Nintendo first party, they're going to come through with games. And then my other worry is, I guess, new IPs for Nintendo because it's been a little bit since we've gotten one over there. And and it's funny when I say I want new IPs, but then in the very next sentence, I'm going to say, where is Star Fox? I would like a new Star Fox game. Dang, I didn't know the game. Oh, where's Kid Icarus? Can we get Kid Icarus back? Where is that Metroid? Where's that Metroid 4 that you announced like 30 years ago?
Well, why are you doing this?
I mean, you asked the question. I'm just answering. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. And then the next one, I mean, because all that stuff makes sense. Let's go ahead and move to the next one. Xbox. What are you worried about with Xbox as a platform?
The only thing I'm worried about with Xbox as a platform is, and I've said this to people for a while. When they have all this stuff under their umbrella, I don't know if people really expect them to just be dropping all of this stuff all at the same time. I mean, as you see now, even now, it takes them quite a bit of time to get some of these games out. I mean, we've been seeing um, motion capture for Hellblade 2 for years, and we finally just got a peek at combat. And even then, like it's a cinematic trailer, so it's kind of hard to know, is this actually gameplay or is this like
I think
a
that was
cinematic
actually
cut?
gameplay because if you played the first Hellblade, it
That
kind of
looks
went
just like
to
that. Yeah.
it kind of went into a
Yeah, I guess.
cinematic mode when you were actually fighting.
Yeah, I guess with Hellblade, you can't really say that because that's how the game looks. But any other game, you could probably make that criticism. But and then the only other thing I have for Xbox is how are they going to handle all these IPs that they have? Are they all going to be multi-platform? Are they going to go to other places? How are they going to manage release dates? Because I remember Matt Booty was like, "Oh, we don't want to step on anybody's toes when we're, putting these release schedules together." Well, all right. Well, now you have Bethesda, you have ABK, plus you have your Microsoft first party. How's this going to affect your game releases? How are you possibly going to get all these IPs that you have out now out in a good time when you say you want, what, 4 games per year or 1 AAA per quarter?
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, that's what, four IPs a year, possibly? What qualifies as a big one? Do you qualify Crash or Spyro as a small one? How's that going to work?
Yeah,
That's really all I have
I'm
for
interested in
Xbox.
how serious they look at like something like South of Midnight, right? Which is
Yeah.
supposed to be recently told that it was coming out early sometime next year. Um, so yeah, I mean, I totally understand your worry right there with cadence, right?
Oh, and management, of course, because as we all know, they've had issues already sometimes managing what they do have and getting it out the door. So now that they have all this extra stuff now, is this going to exacerbate the problem, or is the ABK expertise going to be able to come in and help them straighten that out? I've seen some people float that they need to move some of those ABK people to the internal Xbox team just to give them like an idea. Hey, this is how we manage to get all these games out like every year. Like this is how we produce. And I know Poly ABK is not the best template for that because I know they deal with crunch and they had a lot of issues, which is why they got
They're pretty
sold in
good
the
at
first place.
marketing though.
Oh yeah, they're good at marketing. They'll do their thing with marketing, which Xbox needs. So that's good that
Exactly.
they have them.
Absolutely. And then last of all, which you brought up a bunch of valid points for Xbox and Nintendo, but now I need to hear what you got to say about PlayStation. What worries you about PlayStation going forward?
Thing that worries me about PlayStation going forward is their over reliance on live service titles and how they plan to, I guess, what do you call it? Adapt their IPs and stuff to the changing market where games now are live service. They need repetitive revenue. I don't want them to ruin IPs that they have for this chase of a live service game. We already saw what happened with Factions, with them
Mm,
trying to chase that live service thing. I don't want to see that happen to games like Horizon, where we're kind of already seeing that. I think Ghost of Tsushima did a great job with their live service component with Legends because it was a free update. You didn't really have to pay or anything for that. There's no like monetization in there. Um, yeah, it's just the live service thing. Other than that, I'm not really concerned about anything else because we know PlayStation is going to deliver with some of their single player games. And the ones I'm most excited about, like Insomniac and Sucker Punch, I know they're going to hit. I'm not even worried about them. And then I know I play a lot of third party stuff, so I'm not really too worried about what kind of deals and stuff they're gonna strike because we know they're gonna have the deals. So yeah, they just gotta I guess communicate with their player base better, let them know what's coming when it's coming, and then stop putting so much focus into live service and don't ruin your IPs with that stuff. Don't want to see that.
one side question to that before we kind of, call this subject good to go. Do you think they need to acquire anything? Because I
No,
mean,
no, I'm not
I
a
mean,
fan
I've
of.
heard both sides where some people are like, they got to make a move because Xbox just made a move, and then others being like, no, we need to settle down. We're fine. We just need to focus on what we got and stop, as you were just saying, focusing so hard on live service.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of consolidation, regardless of who it is. I don't want any of these companies buying up all these IPs and stuff like that. The way I call it is called IP hoarding because these mega subscription people, they do the same thing with their TV shows and the stuff that they buy. They'll buy these IPs and they don't even use them. They're literally just hoarding them to hold on to in case they do want to use them eventually. And I'm not a fan of PlayStation buying. For example, I see a lot of people float, oh, PlayStation needs to go buy Square Enix. Why would they do that? They're only going to release Final Fantasy and maybe Kingdom Hearts. You're not going to get games like Dragon Quest. You're not going to get games like Valkyrie Elysium, which is another smaller Square Enix game I'm playing right now. You're not going to get your Octopath Travelers. You're not going to get
Or
games like Chained Echoes, Visions of Mana. You're not going to get games like that. You're only going to get the heavy hitters. I like when these companies are independent. I like the number one thing I always see is like, oh, somebody needs to go buy Sega or somebody needs to go get Capcom or no. Why does everything have to be an acquisition? Why does everything have to be under these two corporations? We don't want that in gaming. We do not. Because once everybody holds all the power under like these two companies, I mean, there's not much else you can do. Not a fan of it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I've been still seeing people, especially um, even some of my friends within the Xbox community, saying, "Oh, we need to go get Sega now, or we need
I
to
don't
get
understand why y'all
Crystal
have everything
Dynamics."
over there. What
And
y'all need them for?
and that's kind of where I'm at, kind of on it right now. It's like I think maybe like picking up something like a Crystal Dynamics that might make sense because they've been working really close with the initiative and whatever. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, yo, can we understand what we're driving first before we buy another car?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I feel like we just need to, you know, we just need like we, in my opinion, on the Xbox side, you finally got Obsidian looking like they're cooking on a
Yep.
regular basis. Same with Playground. Playground is now trying something new.
Yep.
So that's like a good thing. Bethesda looks like they're working. You just got Activision Blizzard, which was literally the biggest.
By far.
So as for needing to run out and go purchase Sega or just somebody else, I'm just like, yo, you didn't even finish your plate yet.
Yeah,
How are
exactly.
you? How are you in another drive-through already? You still got a bag of food right next to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, just because you buy them doesn't guarantee that they're going to be in the same state that they are now. Like, for example, let's look at Bungie. When PlayStation bought them at the time, I think Bungie was in a much better place. Today, I don't think anybody has faith in Bungie. So just because you bought them now doesn't mean they look good. And then you always also got to maintain, you got to invest, you got to make sure you retain the staff that was there that did create those IPs in those games. Otherwise, you're gonna have to put new faces and new people in there that might not be as familiar with what they're working on. So
with their own IPs.
yeah, so that's a worry there.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. The next subject I want to talk about was content creation, which you kind of been diving into. Whether it's on the spaces, on some of the social media sites like TikTok, Twitter, and whatnot. YouTube, you're gonna
Mhm.
be making a pretty serious push onto YouTube in 2024, as you told me earlier.
Yep.
Where did this all like stem from? Like, why did you decide, hey, I want to, put my 2 cents in?
So it's funny. This was in May 2022. Like I mentioned before, I've always been like kind of in the background, just kind of viewing the gaming community from afar. I never participated in any spaces. I had like a personal Twitter that I used, but I only talked about sports on there because a lot of the people I interact with, they don't really like gaming like that. Like I'm one of the few gamers that I know personally that game to the level that I do. So I was
Same.
like, I just randomly text my brother like, "Hey man, I'm gonna start a gaming Twitter and just see what happens with it." And that was in May of, I think it was May 31st, 2022. And when I had first made my profile, I was kind of like just trolling people because I didn't really take it serious. Then eventually, like I think I found the spaces and I saw like, oh wow, the people actually like interact in this community like that. They talk about games. Maybe I don't want to troll. And at the time, I had like a little cartoony picture up there, and I wasn't really gaining followers or anything like that. It's like, you know what? Maybe I need to like put my face here and see what happens as I start being more of myself versus trying to troll people, even though I do that all the time now. And yeah, and now here I am, just off really just interacting in spaces with people and communicating there and just playing games with people across all platforms. It doesn't matter where you play. I played with people on PlayStation, I played with people on Switch, I played with people on Xbox. I mean, I don't know too many people that can say they played Gran Turismo plus Forza online. Most people they either pick one or the other. They don't do both. So, and that's really I just like talking to games with people and interacting in the community with if you're a positive force. Otherwise, if you're negative, I'll probably just troll you or something. I don't know.
He said, if you give it to me, I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
right back, right?
I mean, you don't gotta give it to me. I'll just troll you anyway. Just 'cause I get bored.
Man, you disrespectful. All right, so
That's what they say.
I need to know now from you, who are some of like the inspirations to continue pushing in the content creating area for you? Go on ahead and name off some people that you thoroughly enjoy and think, I actually took a couple ideas off of them, or they inspired me to do this or something like that. Who are those folks within the gaming community, or at least Twitter gaming community?
So I would definitely have to shout out J Bar and Persona from Wups. Um, even though like when I first started tweeting and stuff, when I barely had like any followers or no following, like they would still interact with me and never like look down on me just because I was a newish profile or newish person in the community. And not only that, they also had great PlayStation content. And that was one of my inspirations to tweeting more. Colt Eastwood, even though sometimes I don't like some of his content and the way he does stuff, I do respect his work because he works really hard. He does a great job in terms of content creation, driving home his points. And even if everything he says isn't 1000% factual, he does make it come across to a point where it's like, okay, I understand that. Like, I get where you're coming from, even if you didn't explain it correctly. Also, all the people on RDX like xCloud Tim Dog, D Batch, Salker, and then you as well, because I remember I've been following your channel for a minute, and I've seen all the different interviews and stuff that you've done on. I'm like, oh man, that's a pretty cool thing. Maybe down the road, that's something that I would want to do with content creation, like interview people or talk to people, because like when I'm in the spaces and stuff like that, that's one of the things I'll do. Like even though I might troll people, like oh I'm messing with you, like you don't even beat games, you don't do this, I'll still like break out. Like for example, earlier we were talking about I think gaming reviews on websites, and there was a guy that was up there. He was like an Irish guy, and I guess he has like an Irish site that he writes on. So like in the middle of the space, I'm like, oh, so can you tell me what it's like writing for this website? Like, how did you get into this? Like, did you just happen to go to your boss like, hey, I want to do game reviews, and he just let you do it? Like, what was that process like? And then I was like, and I'm not trolling you, by the way. Like, I'm 100% serious. I really want to know this information. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. And he kind of explained it, and then everybody in the space, just started jumping in and asking them questions. So that's the kind of stuff I enjoy, just hearing people talk about what they like and what they're passionate about. So I don't know if like when I do my content creation, obviously I'll do like gameplay videos or live streams and stuff like that. But outside of that, like I don't know what I would want to do. Like would I want to just do like a podcasting where I have people on and talk to them? Would I want to do like a little interview series, like a one-on-one? There's just so many different lanes to hop into content creation. And that's probably why I haven't got there yet. Cause I mean, there's just so many different things that you can do. And then once you do it, you got to be passionate about it and put your best foot forward. So
Well, that kind
just
of
figuring
brings me
out that balance.
that kind of brings me to the next thing I was going to ask you, which is when you do start to post content onto your YouTube channel, what is going to be like your primary focus for like as shows or something like that? Is it going to be gameplay? Is it going to be gaming with other people? Is it going to be having like a sit down podcast and talking between a bunch of people, interviews? Is it just going to be just a bunch of just random different type of stuff? What is it that you want to bring for people to be able to see and share?
I probably would say it's probably gonna be a mix of everything because number one, I want people to see positivity. I don't want them to be watching my channel just for bashing Xbox or Nintendo or PlayStation. I want them to come to my channel and to be able to learn something or have like some kind of gameplay insight where they're watching me play a game, maybe they're playing. It's like, oh wow, I never thought to beat that level that way, or oh cool, you're playing co-op. I never thought we could play this game that way, or oh, that's an interesting way to communicate. Because for example, one of the games I'm playing through right now, I don't know if you've seen Sackboy: A Big Adventure. That
Yeah, I have the game.
Yeah, so I'm playing that now with one of my
Me and
friends,
my
and we're
wife
playing
play
that.
it.
Yeah, so we're playing that co-op, and then we played It Takes Two together as well.
Mm.
And that's just like, dang, like this is some really funny like live stream content, and I'm just not even posting it. Like I like there was like one part. Did you play It Takes Two?
Yeah. Me and my wife beat that game as well. That game was phenomenal.
Yes.
I like that
Yes, it
little Mortal
was.
Kombat moment that you had
Oh yeah.
on top of that little flying thing. I thought that was
Yeah,
crazy.
the funniest part to me was the elephant when we had to push him off the thing.
Oh, come on.
And
That
the
was so
person I was
disrespectful.
it was, but the person I was playing with, we were laughing like so hard during that part. And
I
then when I
think
went back
everybody
through
was
my
because I was
clips,
crying.
yeah, and then I went back through my clips and I was so mad, like, oh man, I did not save that part. And I only saved like a couple of the parts. I'm like, man, if I was like live streaming like I wanted to be, like this would be so hilarious to look back on. But now it's lost and I can't just go replay it. It's not gonna have the same effect on this now.
Sure, sure. Yeah, man. I mean, that game was hilarious. That elephant at the
That's probably
end
my
where
favorite
you're
games
just
that I played this year, honestly, because I didn't really know what to expect. I heard it was a cool game, and I knew it was a co-op game, so I was like, hey, let's just play through this real quick. And it ended up being like probably one of my favorite gaming experiences I've had, just because of the co-op factor and then the fun that we had playing the game. It was crazy.
yeah, it was hilarious. That little book that came and
Oh
appeared with
man,
all
I
the
hate that book, man. I was so tired of hearing that book. I was like, oh, here comes this guy again. Here we go.
oh man,
Oh,
all right.
you got to love, you got to love. I'm like, oh no, you got to go. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, they hated him. Just the characters in the game hated him, so it made it easy for yourself to hate him
Yep.
as well. So I totally understand that. All right, so kind of going within that same realm, I'm pretty much going to tie the content creation part up with this is how do you see being able to possibly have some of the people within the Twitter space and Twitter gaming and stuff like that. How do you plan on possibly having them be influential to your channel? How would you like to do that? Is that something that you want to do interview wise or panel wise, or what are you kind of looking for? And a little side piece to that is, are you looking to also have people that are literally in the industry? Like I've had interviews with like Seamus Blackley, Jerry Hook, I don't remember the dude's name right off the top of my head, but he runs ID at Xbox. I've also had I've just had several different developers. I had a developer that literally just started with Maverick Games, which is a new
I've heard of that
um,
studio.
yeah, that's a new studio from Mike Brown back when he used to be on Playground. He started up that studio. So I kind of want to know what your aim is for how you plan on um using, or I don't like saying using, but like having people on your channel and stuff like that. What
So
direction do
now
you
I
want to go with
just so now I just thought about it because I was just brainstorming. What I'd probably do if anything is which I think would be unique. 'Cause like for example, like when you do your interviews, you're just like one on one in person. For me, if I was gonna do it, I'd probably think of, hey, I'll just use like Persona. Hey Persona, I know you're a huge Final Fantasy fan. Do you want to like play Final Fantasy and we just chop it up, or you want to play one of your favorite games and then we can talk about your favorite game, or just talk about, what you're going through in gaming, or how's your year been? Like, what are you looking forward to? Something like that. I'd probably do it like that. That way, instead of just looking at somebody talking or looking at people talking in a video, you actually have the gameplay there and you can see the gameplay and just talk through it. I think that would be a little different because it's almost like a let's play interview almost.
That's kind of that's an interesting idea. Maybe you should definitely get in, because one thing that you could do that's kind of fun is if you ever have like a developer come through or something like that. Either you're playing the game or you're allowing them to play the game and maybe describe some of the stuff
Oh yeah,
that
like a
they've worked
developer
on.
diary almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that actually be a pretty hot idea. And I'm sorry I got you on the spot on some of these things, but I think it's
Well, that's
very
cool. But the
helpful
only
to
thing
think
is,
about in the future.
oh yeah, definitely. But the only thing is, based on my content currently on Twitter, it'll probably be a little hard for me to go too corporate with developer interviews. And that's
You'd be
the other thing
surprised.
about well, yeah, I would, but that's the other thing about Twitter is based on how your persona or how you come across. Like for example, my personality, uh, I would be very surprised if any developers wanted to talk with me. But other folks, I can see that completely. But developers and stuff like that, I don't see myself going too corporate. I don't think my style mixes with that too well. Because I'm a go there with some of the stuff I say, and they might not like that sometimes.
Hey
But
man,
that's just me.
honesty is the best policy, and I mean, you sprinkle a little corporate in there, but you ain't got to be completely one or the other, if you feel
Oh yeah, true. I mean, this is probably as corporate as I'll ever get with
me.
how I talk. Because if you hear me in his face, it's like, wow, this is like a completely different person almost.
Well, all right, all right, all right. So let's keep it moving from there. Um, so now I got like these kind of quick hitter questions that I always like to hit people with towards the end
Oh,
of the
speed round.
stream,
Okay.
just so you can kind of uh so people can kind of scale and see what you think and how you plan on playing games going forward. So let me go on ahead and pull that up right quick right here. There we go. The first one that I wanted to ask you was flat out, what was your most beloved game as a kid?
Pokemon. Pokemon Red, Pokemon Gold. Definitely Pokemon.
Big Pokemon guy. And to this day, you
As a
still play Pokemon.
not really. Not really, no. I don't have Scarlet, I don't have Violet, I didn't play any of the recent ones. I'm not a fan of the new style Pokemon. So I'll play the older ones, but I'm not playing the new ones.
Probably not a fan of how broken it is either.
Well, I wouldn't know. Haven't played them.
Fair enough, fair enough. But before I go to the next question, I just wanted to just you know pay my respects and show off. Make sure you guys go over to his channel, hit that subscribe button, show some support. Whether you're watching this now or later, there is no time limit. Please go over there and support him as he
Hex.
starts to
And I'll tell you, the
put up
Creed
content
VR
on.
content is A1. I had a few people in the community fight each other. We had commentary on there. Shout out to TZ and Wolfgang Mishima. They did some of the commentary for me on there. And it's really funny because I've done a couple fights in the VR, and when you're in the VR, it's kind of crazy because you can't really. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but the boxing game, like, you think, oh, it's nothing, I'm just punching, but no, it's a workout. It's a little workout. I was sweating and coughing and heaving. By the time you watch the VR tournament, all you hear is you're like, oh, he's tired, he's gassed. Now knock him out, hurry up, get him. And the commentary is just hilarious. So I'm gonna try and hold another Creed VR tournament next year.
Yep. And what do you do that off of the PlayStation?
Yeah. So what I do is usually I'll get a couple commentary people to get into a PSN party with me, and then I'll get my fighters because I'm like Don King out here. I'll get my fighters and I'll be like, hey guys, who's trying to fight each other? $50 PSN if you win. You still get a $20 PSN if you lose, just to entice them to fight. And sometimes they will fight, and it's good. It's good entertainment. And then usually what we'll try to do is the winners will face off against each other, and whoever wins at the end is like the champ. I am the current champ of last time. Nobody's really been able to put the hands on me like that. So yeah, I just see the chat, like everybody's just laughing because it's like the funniest thing.
Yeah,
And
you can
not
see
only
it over
that, like,
here. Pharaoh
yeah, like
J,
the
which I'll
movement.
be having him on in a little while. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
and not only that, it's like the movement in VR. Like, it's just so funny. Like, especially when you get knocked out, you're like, oh, he just got dropped. Get up. He ain't getting up. He ain't getting up. Look. And then you gotta, like, when you're getting up, you just gotta, like, and then you're gassed. Come on, you gotta knock him out. So yeah, we went 8 rounds, and it was something else.
Fighting for his damn life. God damn. All right. All right. That was phenomenal. And like I said, I just wanted to show off that your profile and whatnot, just kind of, pay respect and show everybody where they can actually find your content when you do start to upload and whatnot. I'd like to at least be somewhat helpful with you getting off of the ground, even if it's just a few subs, better than no subs.
Yeah,
right?
no problem. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. But going on to the next question, I want you to tell me a specific memorable moment that you remember back when you were younger in game, or it doesn't even have to be younger. It could be recently, actually. Because I want you just to think of anything that was like, man, I'm probably never gonna have that much fun again.
Let me see. 'Cause there's so many memories I've had. I always have to say the title screen of Ocarina of Time. Just hearing that theme play, this
You
brings
said
back.
the title screen.
Yes, because there's like specific. I'm like a huge music person, so there's like specific like melodies and things that I'll hear, like where the second I hear them, like it just brings back instant memories. Like for example, the Ocarina of Time theme, it just brings me back to playing on N64, going through that game for the first time. Getting out of the Cocorico Forest, going to Death Mountain, going through Zora's Domain, just hearing all the different music and melodies. And then even now today, like for example, when I beat Breath of the Wild recently, there's so many like callbacks and stuff to other games while I'm playing the game where I'm just like cheesing and smiling the whole time, like, oh man, they really like put this in the game. I think it's that. It's like when I'm playing sequels to older games and they have like homages and stuff like that to those games or specific callbacks where it's like, oh wow, like I can't believe they really just did that. Like wow, that brings me back.
Okay. So so that's one of the most memorable moments that you have, but then I need to know because this is a memorable thing, but I need to know now what type of games do you refuse to play and why?
So I do not play Bethesda games.
You just said you played Starfield.
Well, I only play Starfield to try it out. I only play like 2 hours, but typically I
Okay.
do not play Bethesda games. I've never played a Far Cry. I've played maybe like an hour
Wow.
of Mass Effect. Um, the only Assassin's Creed game I played was Origins. I have Valhalla, but I didn't boot it up. Um, I guess Bethesda games. I'm just not into that type of game. I've never played a Fallout game, so I guess that'd be it. I don't really have a reason why. They just don't interest me.
I can kind of see what you're saying because I've never been a big Fallout fan either. In fact, I'm hoping that this TV show of Fallout gets me into it because as of right now, I've had I mean, I got Fallout 76 when I bought my Xbox One X. It came with it. I
Hmm.
Before I had my Xbox One X for my VCR Xbox One, the big chungus. I bought day one Fallout 4 and played like 2 hours of it. I got
I heard
bored.
that. I heard that one was rough at launch, and I think they had to fix it up to get it up to par. And now that I think about it, that might actually be a game you like more because I think they have the patch for Series X and PS5 out now, where you might
I
get the
thought it was supposed to come
performance
out
and things
next
like
year.
that. Well, I don't know when it's coming out, but I know maybe once that patch drops, maybe you'll get a better experience out of the game than before.
I don't know if it's gonna be a better experience because, like I said, I was bored. It wasn't because the game was broken.
That's a good point.
I was just
That's a good
bored.
point.
So, like, I'm hoping maybe watching the TV show will get me to understand some of the reasons behind why that world is the way it is and why people interact the way that they do and stuff like that. I understand that it's an RPG, so you're making your own choices and stuff, right? So even if I
Yeah.
watch the TV show, I'm not going to be doing or having any of the same choices that they had in that. But just, I feel like any type of hype around that to get me to actually get into it and play it would be nice.
Yeah, I can
But
see that.
it,
I think it takes a
but
while so for certain games to click for some people. Like Red Dead didn't click for me for quite a bit, and then it finally did just finally click. Like, okay, now I understand the appeal of this game and why people like it and love it.
yep, that was the same for me in Death Stranding and Persona 5. Both of
Yep.
those games, I was like, I don't know why people like this game.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
Death Stranding's
remember
an interesting one.
for like a year, I was like, for like a year after the what is it called, the director's cut um of Death Stranding came out, I just kept telling everybody this is a walking simulator, trash. I ain't playing it. I ain't playing it. I ain't playing it. And then my boy, which is an absolute Kojima stan, was like, just give it 3 to 4 hours and just I fight the temptation to shut it off and just keep playing it and see what happens. I ended up putting in like 70 hours, 80 hours into that game. I had a good time. I ended up building like most of the
Oh
highway
yeah, networks and
and
stuff like that.
everything.
Yeah, that game is tight, especially once you get to that point where you can start interacting with the stuff that other people made. Um,
Right. You
that's
get the
and
thumbs
that's
up and stuff like that.
Yep, yep. That's one thing I hope changes with this community because I know a lot of people will just look at a game on its face and they won't even dive deep into it or care just because they hear what other people say and they don't want to give it a try themselves. I'm not like that. I gotta try a game myself. I don't want to go off what some random person says before I try it, and that's why I don't care about Metacritic or reviews for the games I want to play. For example, I beat Forspoken. I love that game. Everybody else, when I tell them I like it, why would you like that trash game? It sucks. Okay, well, did you play it? No, I didn't. I saw it on YouTube. Well, I don't want to hear it anymore.
What I've learned is that people need to just be better with their money at the
Yep.
end of the day. If you don't see like for myself, when I got Forspoken, I got it at the time that I thought it was optimal for me.
Hmm.
Right? I didn't see it as a $70 game to me. Like, sure, it's a good game, and I played a like I want to say like 13 hours of it so far, so I still got quite a ways to go because it's a big game. But I waited until it was on a deep sale. And I think some people are so quick to just say that game, it came out and I don't want it at launch, so it's trash for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Instead of just being like, maybe this isn't $70 for me. Maybe this is $15, $20, $30.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, if I would have bought Forspoken at $70, I wouldn't have been that happy. But seeing that I got it for like $20, I'm like, that's a steal. I'm
Oh
having
yeah,
a
definitely.
blast with this
Yep.
sucker right here. Right?
Yep.
So I think people just need to manage their wallets a little bit better, and that will help them manage their expectations. You'll get surprised by a game that like for instance, what is it? Like Immortals of Avium was like $8.
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of people are picking that up now. That's on sale and the studio's gone, and people are actually enjoying the game now. Even
Isn't
though
that
I think
something?
but yeah, and that's the problem with reviews and Metacritic and stuff like that. People are just so quick to go off what people on social media say, or people that are being disingenuous, just trying to spread a narrative or their own little biases towards games that they don't like. But I won't ever be like that. Like I'll always give every game a fair chance, regardless. Some of my favorite games have terrible Metacritic scores. I don't care.
Ooh. One of my favorite games of all time was one of is a really poorly rated game. And it was for the 64 Chef's Love Shack from South Park. And
But the
yeah,
South Park games back then were awesome.
that's what I'm saying. But I looked at the IGN review for it and they were pretty much saying, like, don't buy it. And I'm like, shit.
Well, it's funny because back then I think a lot of games got terrible scores and nobody really cared. But it's only now in the Metacritic era where people are caring. Like I don't know if you remember X Play from back in the day. They used to give
Mhm.
every game like terrible ratings, and they would just be saying look the most ridiculous things on their reviews. But then you go play, I'm like I don't know what they were talking about. This game is hot. This game is heat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. The next question I got for you, DC, is what is the best 3 games that you've played in the last calendar year? They don't have to have came out in the last year, but what are just the best games? So you could tell me something from the NES if you want to. You just have had to have played it in the last 365.
Oh, that's easy. So It Takes Two would definitely be up there. That game was awesome. I guess I'm kind of mad I missed it earlier, but I'm glad I was able to play through that one. That game was really cool, awesome co-op experience. Sea of Stars would also be up there. That was my indie game of the year and possibly also my ultimate game of the year. I'm a sucker for those classic JRPG experiences. The pixel art, the music, as I mentioned, was absolutely incredible. And then for that third slot, oof, man, this is tough because I've touched a lot of games in the past 365. Um, I don't know if Spider-Man would be in that slot. I don't think Forspoken would be in that slot. I don't think God of War would be in that spot. Even though technically, well, I guess I did technically beat that in the last 365. Let
Well,
me
it
just look at
came
my
out
PlayStation
just
real
last
quick.
year, so just like a month before. Yeah,
Maybe
not,
I will.
yeah.
Maybe I'll say Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe. Hold on. Let me just look real quick. Oh, you know what? Dang, Final Fantasy 16 was pretty incredible too. I'll put dang, and Hogwarts Legacy was up there too. I'll put Final Fantasy 16 in that slot. I had a really good time with this story. I'm a big fan of oh man, I forgot I played Tales of Arise this year too. And Elden Ring.
This
See,
man,
I literally play so many
this
games. It's
man's whole
hard, but
top 3 is compromised, right?
yeah, it's like if I had to do a top three, I would probably put. Dang, I said Sea of Stars and It Takes Two. I'd have to do a top five. I'm gonna have to cheat because I'm gonna have to
Go
put
ahead.
Final
That's fine.
Fantasy in there. I'm gonna have to put Tears of the Kingdom in there, and then the last game would be
Hogwarts, Tales of Arise. Mm.
Tales of Arise because that story hooked me. It was pretty dope.
And that game is long indeed.
Oh yeah, it was super long, but I mean I'm into that kind of stuff. I put 100 hours in the Sea of Stars, so and I want to say I only put 80 into Tales of Arise, so I want to get back to that because I got the DLC and I haven't even had a chance to play it yet because I'm playing through everything else I have.
Yeah, we were just talking about ratings just a moment ago, and I'm sitting here thinking about Hogwarts Legacy, how hot that game was. I threw 80 hours in that bitch. And
Oh yeah,
man,
that game felt long too. I don't know if it was because of the side quests, but I think maybe like 3/4 or 30, 60 to 70% of the game through, I was like, okay, this is too much. Let me just do the rest of the campaign stuff. I'm done doing side quests. I'm
I
ready to
did the
move on.
same thing. I was just like, man, this ain't
And then
stopping.
and then the craziest thing about that game is when it first came out, like I was thinking like, wow, there's no way this game doesn't get like game of the year or at least nominated. And then as the year went on, I just kept playing better and better stuff. Like it almost completely dropped out of my top 10 by the end of the year, which was crazy. And I didn't think it would be possible, but that just tells you how incredible of a year this was for gaming.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a controversial question. Not crazy though. Do you think that not seeing Hogwarts at the Game Awards whatsoever was good or bad for the game industry?
Um, I would probably say it was bad because I think it should have at least been nominated for at least one category.
Like best RPG or something?
Yeah, even RPG or
I don't
artistic
see why
direction.
YPP is above Hogwarts.
Yeah, like even artistic direction, because they did a pretty good job of capturing the aesthetics and the feeling of Hogwarts. And then not only that, the crazy thing was when the game came out, people were like complaining, "Oh, there's going to be no diversity and stuff because of the issues with the game." When in fact, there was probably more diversity in that game than any other game that came out this year in terms of representation and things like that. Because you had people of color and you had people across the whole entire spectrum in the game, and they represented them, I think, properly. I don't think anybody can complain there. So when you think about it now, it's kind of puzzling that they didn't get literally anything at all.
And they had a trans person in the game when the whole J.K.
Yep.
Rowling thing,
Yep.
about trans thing. So it was like in the game they were even fighting J.K.
Yeah, and it's I just don't think people wanted to touch that game for some reason with all the issues, which is disappointing because I don't think they deserve that. I think they put a lot of quality time into the game, and then not only that, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people didn't even have faith that the developer could even do a good game because they never heard of him. You're like, who is Portkey Games? Like I've never heard of these guys, and they're gonna do a Hogwarts game, and it's supposed to do what? And then the game actually came out, and I don't think I was really disappointed. The only bad thing about the game was it was a slog and it took forever to get through it.
All right. Another little controversial question. Where do you think Blade is when it comes out? Is it
I think
everywhere or is it Xbox and PC and Steam?
I think it's Xbox, PC, and Steam. Um, well, Man, I don't know, because if it comes out in 2027 when Xbox is full third party, I guess it'll be everywhere, right?
I see what you're doing right there.
Yeah,
I see what
I had
you're
to throw one in there. I had to throw one of
yeah,
those in
yeah.
there.
Xbox is dead by the
But
time it's done.
yeah, I think it'll only be on Xbox as of right now, unless something drastic changes. Like for some reason, Sony's like, okay, we'll let Game Pass on PlayStation, but only your first party stuff, and that's it.
What'd you think of the
Because
concept art that came out today?
I thought it was interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they tackle that. Because in my opinion, I don't think Blade as a character per se works in that kind of artistic style. I think if they went something more closely to, um, not saying that they need to copy it exactly, but how the Order 1886, like how they had like that kind of darkest theme to the game, I think that would have suited Blade very, very well versus that arcane flair, artistic flair, I guess what you want to call it.
No doubt. Concept art is concept art, though, and we'll just have
Yep.
to wait and see
Yeah, I
when
mean,
we actually see
and
some
yeah, not
sort of
only
play.
that, you might see concept art one year and then the game's completely dead the next. Sorry, factions.
Damn, come on. This man is
What do you want me to
leaving
say,
a
man? I
trail of
don't.
disrespect.
That's what I do. I don't. That's why I say it'd be interesting if people actually want to communicate with me, because I might say that to the developer. I'm like, oh, so how's game development going for you? I know you used to work on PlayStation games, but how's it, working on Xbox? They take forever to drop their games. Are you concerned about that at all? And he's like, wait, hold on, what are you asking me right now?
I don't know. I don't think questions like that are that crazy or bad. I mean, if you have the goal to ask that kind of questions, I think that's a
Oh,
good
trust
thing.
me,
And I think,
it would be a lot worse questions than that. I don't
oh
know.
man, all right. This man's a
People
mess.
that know me, they understand. They're like, nah, there ain't no way he's going corporate.
All right.
Ain't no
So
way.
so you listed off your top 5 games before we sidetracked a bunch of stuff. I mean, it was supposed to be top 3, but you just couldn't pick 3 apparently. So,
Yep.
but we're off to the next question, which is, what is your favorite studio, and what game best represents that studio?
Oh, you might be able to answer that one for me at this point. Insomniac and Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said Ratchet and Clank was your favorite game.
Yep. Those PS2 games are amazing, and it is a shame that they are still not natively playable on PS5. Why do I have to stream these PS2 games when I could just play them on my PlayStation? It doesn't make any sense. And then not only that, all the PS3 games that you can only stream now, you can't even play them natively. It's kind of a disappointment, in my opinion. But the game is still incredible. I encourage everybody to play Rift Apart. It is still, in my opinion, the best looking next gen exclusive across all platforms. But
Very
Pandora
good.
might be giving me a run of my money now on PC.
Man, have you played Avatar yet?
I have not. I'm not really into the Ubisoft games, but I've been hearing some
Yeah, I
good
hear it's a
things,
lot like Far
so
Cry.
we'll see. Yeah, and that's what other people told me. They said, I've never played a Far Cry game, and somebody was like, oh, well, if you never played a Far Cry, you'll love this. I'm like, wait, how does that make sense if I've never played it? But they were explaining to me, I guess the Far Cry formula gets repetitive or gets annoying eventually. So if you could at least just play one game in that formula, I guess this would be it.
Okay, I could see. I could see what they mean with that one. All right. So Insomniac, favorite developer because of Ratchet and Clank. I do have a quick side question on top of that with Ratchet and Clank is how do you expect them to expand upon that universe, seeing what happened? I mean, you seen what happened with Nefarious. He looked like a punk
Hmm.
in that game, right? With the alternate Nefarious, that dude was insane, right?
Oh yeah,
He
it was
made
kind of cool seeing that though, because in all the game, I don't know how adept you are with the games, but like in the past games, like Nefarious, he's always losing. Like he never wins. He's always being super clumsy and like coming out on the wrong side. So it's kind of cool seeing them have an alternative take on a character. We're like, well, let's see what happens when he actually like does everything right and what that world looks like. And we got to see that with Rift Apart. And I think with the future games, which we know we're going to get, I think they're going to finally start exploring the Lombax history, which was a big point in the PS3 games. that they skipped over when they remade the first PS2 game on PS4, which I did not like because I was like a reboot. So Rift Apart was actually like the first new story that we had gotten in quite some time. So I'm just looking forward to what they do with Rivet and Ratchet and where they go from here. I think they left a lot of ideas on the table, even for the PS5 game, because I felt like it could have been longer and even bigger than what it was. So I'm just hoping that they take their time with the next one. I know they have they're working on Wolverine. I know they're working on Spider-Man, but I just know they're gonna sprinkle a Ratchet and Clank in there in between somewhere to break it up.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Rivet become more of her own.
Yeah, that's
Com-
the other complaint because everybody was like they play exactly the same. Like there's no real gameplay difference between the two characters.
right. And then last side question on this one with Insomniac being at the forefront of this, I heard a little whisper somewhere. I can't even tell you exactly where I seen it, but I heard that they could be possibly working on a like Into the
Spider
Spider
Verse.
Verse,
Hmm.
yeah, game, right? So
I would
what do
be
you
cool with
kind of
that
think
too.
about that?
That'd be cool too because uh uh have you already beat Spider-Man 2 already and all that stuff?
100% done.
Oh yeah, so you saw the cutscene I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean we saw that scene. Um and then also with the ending of the game, they alluded to another spider person entering the game. So
Yeah, the
I
girl.
mean, yeah, and then even with I heard with the plans with Venom and stuff. I mean, I think a Spider Verse game or series is inevitable at this point. Um, Especially if you want to do the Spider Man IP the correct way. I feel like the multiverse is the next place to go, especially with the popularity of the movies. I mean, they'd be crazy not to tie into that at this point.
Right. Yeah, I felt like they ended this recent Spider-Man like they ended Halo Infinite, where there was more questions at
Then
the
answers,
end
yep.
than their answers. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
people are
I
still
def-
confused about that too to this day because they're like, "Oh, Peter Parker's retiring. He's done. There's no more Spider-Man. It's just Miles Morales." I'm like, "No, that's not what they said." And if you look at the game and the ending and all the context clues they gave you, there's no way that Peter Parker is not coming back. They're not just going to make Miles fight all these Peter enemies. You know, they're going to have them both in there.
Yep, there will be a emergency to where Peter just can't ignore it. He
Yep,
gotta come.
exactly.
He gotta come back. And that's really how superheroes usually work. It's
Yep.
like usually when the job's done, oh boy, like somebody in the crew is trying to go back to their regular life, and then until they in there working on automotive shop or something like that and get a
Yep.
crazy call,
Yep.
and then
We
it's like,
need
oh
you.
damn,
Yep. We need
well,
you.
I said I was done with this, and they're like, no, we need you
I can
back.
already see what's going to be. It's going to be the girl at the end. She can be like, "Miles is in trouble. We need you."
Mm.
And then here you go.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. But we only have a few more questions here before we tie it up. We're about to hit that 2 hour mark where I usually like to try to slow down and try to
Hmm.
get up out of here during that point, just because I want to respect my guest time. I know you got games to play, people to talk to, and stuff like that. So let's go on ahead and continue. The next question I got for you is a fun one. And that one is, what are the games that you are most excited for 2024 and beyond? And that should be pretty easy because 2024 is less than a month away.
Yeah, so I'll just give a couple. So I'm really excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Obviously, that comes out in February. I'm excited to play that game. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I've never played that game, but I've seen a lot of the trailers and stuff that also comes out in February. I'm big into JRPG, so I'm gonna play that. And then the other game I'm really, 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 really looking forward to is the new Monster Hunter that comes out in 2025. The second I saw that trailer at the Game Awards, I already knew what it was. Cause I was just looking at the way the monsters were moving. I don't know if you played Monster Hunter, but you
Hmm.
can kind of tell the animations and stuff. Like the second I saw that little monster in the back, like do his little swim move attack, I was like, oh, this is Monster Hunter. They're adding mounts into the other world style game. And then the second that little cutscene did the little pan, and you saw the little horn that looked like a Diablo slash Unicron from Transformers, I'm like, yes, let's go. Hopefully the game is crossplay because I need my Xbox folks to be playing with me because I saw when the game was on Game Pass, nobody wanted to play Rise with them, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like, man, if you could just go get it on PlayStation, I'll play with you right now.
Right,
They
right.
really need crossplay, and I hope they have it in there.
I mean, so many of these multiplayer games, especially if you're third party, what are you doing?
Yep, I'm
Make
happy.
it
Like,
multi-platform.
yeah, like for example, like I play a lot of Madden, and I'm really good on Madden, and I'm happy now I can play people on PlayStation and Xbox. Like I don't have to go to their platform, and I can just beat them on when I'm playing on.
Yep, Tekken, the new Tekken that's coming out is doing the exact same thing. You're gonna be able to play
Yep,
with people on other platforms and stuff like that. Yeah,
yep,
to
long
me, that
overdue.
kind of stuff needs to just be regular. Like the new Grand Theft Auto that comes out,
Yeah, even the new 2K was cross-platform for the first time too, and that was pretty cool too. Even though the game is dog water now, but yeah,
nothing would give a game more life, especially being third party, than making sure that it's available. Like, I mean, nobody wants to sit in a queue and wait because their specific platform isn't playing as much as another platform, but you
yep. Or
want
you
to play
can't
on the
find anybody to
controller
play
that
on your
you
platform.
prefer,
Yep,
right?
yep,
So
exactly.
yeah, they need to go on ahead and do that. Shout out to Cozy Beluga up in the chat saying Rise is fun, talking about
Facts.
Monster Hunter. Pharaoh J plays pops up saying peace, ham,
Shout out
peace,
Pharaoh.
DC, dope interview. I appreciate you for pulling up. I hope to see you soon, brother. But yeah, here's another side question. I always got side questions. So as for some of the things that were announced at the Game Awards, right? For games that are going to be coming out. I'm just going to ask you a few things. You can delve into it if you want, or you can just be like, nah, I'm not, I don't really care about that. So I'm going to start out with the Sega announcement with all the old school games. What'd you think about that?
I think it's cool because I know a lot of people have been waiting for that for a while, especially with Jet Set Radio. I know that's one game they wanted to come back, as well as Crazy Taxi. That's another game I played a lot back on Dreamcast. So
Dreamtastic. Yeah.
I think that's good for them as long as they're able to release quality content and make sure they're not chasing after a live service bag or making poor decisions when it comes to the funding and production of these games. Because a lot of these developers are running into that issue now where either they're having issues getting the game out the door or they're finding issues with monetization and live service. I'm really hoping in 2024 and moving forward, more companies move away from that. I feel like for the most part, when there are issues in the industry and people start moving away from those, we don't see them anymore. Like for example, when we had the loot box craze a couple years ago, and everybody had loot boxes. Now we don't see that anymore, and I'm
Right.
really
But they
hoping
figured out
some
a
of
way
these.
around it.
Yeah, well now they just do skins. They don't even do the loot box. You just buy the skin straight up versus gambling. But hopefully more of these companies will stop falling into that stuff. That's what I really hope.
Okay. Next thing I was going to ask you is if you played the new God of War Ragnarok DLC that just recently came out.
So I literally just downloaded it. I have not had a chance to dive into it. Because I've
People
been
keep saying it's
playing.
deeper than they thought.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. The only thing that's keeping me from it is I'm trying to finish up this Star Ocean second story and this Sackboy game and then Valkyrie Elysium. And then once I'm done with those three, I will hop into Valhalla because it's going to take me a minute to get reacquainted with the game and the systems. But it won't take me too long to get used to that spear, though. I was a god when I was playing that.
Oh, that
Shout
spear
out to
was hot.
Dropnir. Shout out to Dropnir.
Well, yeah, yep, those explosive spears and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
That stuff was
The second I got
dope.
that spear, man, I didn't put it down after that. And then when I got to Heimdall, oh yeah, he got worked first try. I didn't even need to restart, and I was on the hardest difficulty. Matter of fact, I think I got
You
that
went
clip
back
on
and
my
went to God
channel.
of War?
Oh, I started on the hardest difficulty, and I never turned it down. So.
Well, wait a second. I thought you had to beat the game to get the hardest difficulty.
Oh wait, hold up. Let me look at the difficulty settings. Whatever the hardest one you could start off with, that's what I started off with. So I think that
Yeah,
was
that's
Give
the
Me
one I
God of
beat it
War.
on. Was what was the second hardest difficulty?
I did Give Me God of War.
I don't know how you started out with that because I could have swore it was blocked off to start out as "Give Me God of War." I thought it was "Give Me No Mercy." I thought is what I played it on, or it was the second hardest one.
Let
But
me see.
anyways,
Yeah.
regardless, it don't really matter. Now I need to know what you thought about like the new Hellblade. Is that something that you think you want to play?
Probably not. I never played the first game. I did think it was interesting that we finally got some gameplay versus more mocap pictures and shots. I would have lost it if they're like, "Hey guys, we're so excited for Hellblade. Here's some mocap of our combat." No, don't do that. I'm glad they showed more gameplay off because I know a lot of people are looking forward to that game and everything that it has. So I'm hoping the people that do like that enjoy it, and hopefully it comes out in a timely manner. I was a little shocked that they still don't have a release date on it this late into the cycle, but I guess that's really par for the course with Xbox. They don't really put
Yeah,
a release date until they can really put a date on it.
I think they're doing the old Bethesda trick now, where it's
Mm.
like we're gonna pretty much tell you right when we're damn near ready to launch it, like a month or two before, and oh, here it is. Here's a date. Bethesda already made a mistake going away from that with Starfield, and
Yep.
you've seen what happened with that,
Yep.
right?
Well,
So,
I don't know. I feel like I think Xbox kind of put a little pressure on them as well because they're like,
oh,
"Hey,
I'm
man,
sure.
we really need this game, so you guys like have to be ready by this date." And then eventually they've probably started communicating like, "I don't think we're going to be ready for that." It's unfortunate though that they didn't do that with Redfall. They just
Oh,
let it
facts.
fall red. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, they should have waited until like November to drop that. Even though, Forza comes out in October or whatever, but that goes back to what you were talking about with the whole cadence thing earlier, right? Um but I'm gonna
Oh
put
yeah,
these
I was on Give Me No Mercy. That's what I was on. I thought I was on Give Me God of War, but I guess you can't do that unless it's
unless you
Oh,
beat
you
the
know what?
game first.
Nah, you know what it was? I think I started off on Give Me God of War, and then I was getting my ass kicked so bad I had to crank it down. I think that's what happened. Because I remember I was playing on it, and I was like, "Oh no, this is too tough. I need to crank it down a little level."
Okay. I'm gonna put these two games together because they're made by the same developer, and that one is Persona 3 Reloaded and Metaphor ReFantasio.
The Metaphor game looked cool. I've actually never played Persona. I have it on my PlayStation. I need to get to that series. But they look great. The Metaphor game looks awesome. I like the live action combat that they showed off there, and then the art style is also pretty cool. I always like games that have that like anime style.
Okay. Um, then there's two more games I wanted to ask you about. One being um, the Tales of Kenzara, the Zhao game.
Hmm.
What did you think about that? And I'm sure you heard, or maybe you had seen the Game Awards yourself, where the dude was on stage talking about his dad and all that
Hmm.
stuff, and how this game is, for him, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I thought that game looked pretty cool. I actually thought they were going to show off the Black Panther game because that's the imagery and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the Black Panther game.
Yeah, you seen him
And
come out
then
with that robe and everything,
yeah, and then he
right?
had the robe on. So I'm like, oh, this is a Black Panther game. This is going to be tight. And then he showed off in that instead, which it still looked cool, and I'm going to support it and buy it just because I like seeing unique games like that. And then when you go out and you throw yourself out there, be on the Game Awards, showing off like a pretty much what is an indie game or unknown game, that takes a lot of faith. And the way it looked, I was really impressed with it. So it's definitely going to be one I check out.
All right. And before I hit the last one, here's a little side one because I know you already said you played the hell out of this game. But they got the DLC for Final Fantasy 16
Hmm.
that's dropping. Are you excited to do that, or are you somebody that doesn't really pay too much mind to DLCs?
Oh, I already got the DLC. That's another that's in my backlog that I'm hopefully going to be able to get to before the end of the year. Have a little trip tomorrow that I'll be going on, so I won't be gaming until Sunday night. So that leaves me 2 weeks to get through the rest of the stuff for this year. So I heard it's on the shorter side, so maybe I'll just push that to the front of my backlog to knock that out, and then do God of War But I'm looking forward to the other DLC that comes out in the springtime. That's 10 hours. Hopefully, that's more compelling than what they dropped here. Even though I heard it's really fun, it's still a good way to get back into the game. I was more of a fan of the Meteor DLCs versus like a little piecemeal because I had the same issue with Forspoken, where Forspoken got a DLC and it was only like 2 hours long,
What?
and I was kind of disappointed with it.
Did you
Yeah.
have? And it was paid?
Oh yeah, it was paid. It was paid
Ah,
DLC.
damn.
But I guess
2 hours and you
after
paid for it.
yeah, and I guess the problem with Forspoken, and I think maybe that's why the DLC was so short. Is I think they probably planned more content, but after the reception that the game got, they had to cancel it. So like even in a DLC, like it looks like they're setting up stuff for more content, but obviously the team's disbanded now. We're not gonna get it. It's unfortunate.
No doubt. The last one I had to ask you about is one of the longest part of the Game Awards, and that is Hideo Kojima talks about OD.
Overdose.
What is your thoughts on that game? Are you a Kojima fan, or just where do you sit at all around with that one?
I respect Kojima's work. Some of the stuff he does is kind of out there. Um, really, I guess we just got to see what this game concept is and see what it actually looks like before we can really judge it. Because even with his trailers and the stuff that he does show, it's not always reflective of the game that you're actually going to be playing. And then I'll also be interested to see the reception from the Xbox side because I know a lot of them used to make jokes. Haha, you guys have playing a Kojima game. All right, well now you guys got one, and it's experimental, and it's probably going to be weirder than anything PlayStation has ever had. But I guess
Oh
it's good as long as you guys don't have test tube babies and that you got to carry around the whole game or whatever.
Yeah. All right, all right, all right.
Not that it. Let me chill out. Sorry.
No. You good? I'm laughing. I ain't mad. I'm laughing. But I just think it's interesting because they got Jordan Peele working on
Oh
it
yeah,
as
I saw
well,
that too.
and then on top of it, they said that we have all these other actors and stuff like that that are in the background that we're not ready to reveal who's all in it yet. And Kojima, him and Jeff Keighley are very keen on being around superstars and
Yep.
stuff like that. So how do you see this game just I know we don't have too much information about it yet, but do you think this will be a hit or a success at all, seeing that this is only for the platform that is Xbox, seemingly?
I don't think it will be a hit. I think it will be an interesting concept or game. But I think once we see more gameplay, we'll be able to say that. And I did see some leaked gameplay that came out. I want to say last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, but you couldn't really tell what was going on. Because I want to say it was like a sneak around, like a stealthy kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how all these um, celebrities and stuff tie into the game, how he uses their likeness. Because I think he does a good job using their likeness. And then not only that, I don't know if you saw, but they're making Death Stranding into a movie uh,
Mm-hmm.
coming up. So
Yeah, which will be hella interesting with the whole
yeah, I mean,
DQ and all that stuff.
technically, he's already a pretty much a movie guy because all his cutscenes are like multiple hours long. So
Right?
I mean,
Final
maybe that's why he
Fantasy
likes
like
working with
that.
actors. He's like, hey guys, this is no different than what you do now. It's just simple mocap.
No doubt. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I want to try it out and see what it's all about because, like I said, the last Kojima game that I threw some dirt on, I ended up loving, which was Death Stranding. Um, Seeing this OD game come out, I'm excited for it, but I'm nervous because history tells me when there's that many superstars in a game, it's usually trash.
Yeah, probably. They just got to be, I guess, mindful how they do the casting and how they implement those characters. Um, yeah, because I'm just trying to think. What was like the last game with like a whole bunch of Well, didn't Alan Wake have a lot of popular
I was thinking of like
celebrities
Crime
and stuff?
Boss.
Crime Boss.
Remember, it had
Oh,
Chuck Norris and it had all
oh
these
yeah.
folks in it,
Yep.
and the game was
Yeah.
trash.
Mm.
So I'm just saying, like, historically, when you have like not B level stars, but just a ton of A level stars, it's usually just kind of cringe. But let's go on
Yeah.
ahead and move on because we need to get the heck up out of here. I want you to name me 2 games that are dead IPs right now that you would love to see be remade with AAA quality and put out.
So 2 dead IPs I like to see come back. One would definitely be SOCOM. I feel like maybe I don't know why Sony hasn't done this yet because SOCOM was one of the
Talk about a live service, right?
yeah, exactly. It's a live service game, but I know I think I want to say there's like branding or something like that with SOCOM, so maybe that's why they can't do that again. But I would love to see that come back. And then the other one, let's see, dead IPs. I guess Star Fox, because I would really want to see another Star Fox game.
Man said Star Fox is dead. Damn.
I mean, it kind of is. They're not doing anything with IP. I mean, at least you have a Metroid announcement. You don't have anything for Star Fox. And imagine on the Switch a Star Fox game where you're actually doing like multiple people fighting in space with Team Wolf or Team Fox and all those characters you could be doing. I mean,
Wouldn't that be a
easy
hot
money in
way
my
to drop
opinion.
the Switch 2 with
Oh
a
yeah,
Star
exactly.
Fox game?
And even with the power of that console, I mean, you could easily do that. And I know they literally remade Star Fox 64 for 3DS, but if they actually did it again or remade one of those older Star Fox games where you had Fox run around on levels or get in the R-Wing, I mean, that could be something that they do too. They're not afraid to experiment with their IPs. I mean, you saw Yarn Yoshi, you see that Peach game that they're making.
They
They've
should make
done
a Falco game then.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's an idea too. I mean, imagine having a Falco game. I mean, if Luigi can get his own game, why can't we get Falco in his own?
Man, Falco, that he's an asshole. So that'd be great to play as him.
Oh yeah, no, I relate exactly. I relate perfectly to Falco. I'm a Falco main.
You said that's a day one right there. All right.
Yeah, that's day one.
All right. So last 2 questions that I got for you, or at least mainline questions. And I'm gonna put these 2 together, but I want to know what frustrates you about gaming, and then on the second half, I want to know what would be a dream come true. So go on ahead and tell me first, what frustrates you about gaming in any aspect?
Oh, I think I explained this one earlier. It's just the community and the tribalism that a lot of people have, where they only care about one console, they don't care about both. They're just completely disingenuous. Like for example, some guy put out a tweet yesterday. He was like, "Oh, Microsoft went and got the most irrelevant Marvel character they got. Meanwhile, PlayStation has Wolverine and Spider-Man. How desperate can you get?" I'm like, let's not act like Blade can't be some heat if you get the right people behind it. Like, why do we have to?
Blade didn't save Marvel in the 90s?
Yeah, like let's not. Why do we have to always do this pick and choose either or? This is great and this one sucks. Like, why can't we just have respectful commentary and communication where we're not arguing and telling each other we're going to meet at the outlet mall and fight this, that, and the other? And it's just, I really hope in 2024 with this community in general, because I know not only that, I've known people that I've connected with personally over the past year and a half that I've been doing this that leave the community just because of how toxic it is and the way certain people are treated, or the way people will jump on somebody else just because of their opinion or the games that they do or do not choose to play. So I'm just hoping that I doubt it'll ever be fixed, but I just really hope the community could resolve some of that or be more mature. Like, we're not children. Most of these people doing this are like 40, 50 years old. Like, get a life. Sorry.
No, fair enough.
I probably could have went crazier, but I didn't do it. I'm proud of myself there.
Well, good on you, brother. Good on you. But on the other side of that, or before I even say the other side of that, like just more or less, like people need to be okay with being wrong.
Yep, exactly.
That's what I think the biggest problem is because when you say something goofy like what you just got done saying about this dude saying that Marvel or that Blade is mid, I'm like, you don't know your history. If you literally just like exposed yourself, you don't know your history. You don't know back in 1998, Blade put Marvel back on the map with Wesley Snipes in that movie because Marvel was struggling. And Blade put them back on the map real fat. That whole movie was hot with Deacon and everything, man.
Oh yeah, it was. And then just to bounce off that point you said about being wrong, that's one of my favorite things actually about or one of the favorite things I do on Twitter, because a lot of the times if you say something or you tweet something, you'll have those people that'll start replying to you, and if they don't like what you say, they'll start insulting you, or you're like, oh, you're stupid, you know what you're talking about. And I had that the other day happen to me with some guy. He was like, oh, you're wrong, you're an idiot, you're this, that, and the other. I just remained calm, like, oh, okay, well, here's the source for it, by the way. Oh wow, I'm actually wrong. I'm sorry about that. And I'm over here calling you like every name in the book. I'm like, yeah, but it don't bother me because I don't even know you. Like, why would I get upset about that? And at the end of the day, my job here isn't just to insult and be rude to somebody just because they don't agree with me. I'm gonna provide the information. I'm gonna be respectful and kindful, even if you are calling me every name in the book, and then we'll go from there. And if you really want to take it there, I'll go crazy on you. I have no problem. I'll be respectful first, though. If you're gonna get me there, it's your fault.
He said he is ready either way. It don't matter. All right. What was I gonna say then next? Oh yeah, then on the other side of that, what is a dream come true that DC Gaming has? And you can be selfish with this one if you want to. Like if you have something that you're mustering up or thinking about that you would like to see or have yourself involved in the future, what would that be within gaming?
So let's see. A dream come true in gaming. I'm trying to think. Dang, that's tough. Dream come true. I'm trying to think, like, if I could have like any PlayStation game just randomly come out, or just. Oh, I guess my only dream would be the end of consolidation, all these acquisitions and stuff like that. I don't want none of that at all.
Your dream is for consolidation to stop?
Yeah,
that's a bad dream because that'll never stop, bro.
Yeah, I know, but that's why it's a dream.
All right, that's fair. You said it ain't gonna come true, but it's just a dream. Now, I was just gonna say because there are new players in the ring, or not really new players, but players that are becoming more relevant. So, like your Amazons, your Googles, your Apples. And you see Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft is like, I'm gonna get ahead of this. They're always ahead, sometimes to their own detriment. Sony, on the other hand, you're seeing them go a little bit to purchasing stuff. They're not going crazy purchasing things, but I would think maybe you might see a change in their tone a little bit once you start to see Apple moving in a little bit harder, getting more things. Once you see Google moving in to get more things, Amazon with Luna and stuff like that, trying to get more industry. Netflix.
That's one thing you don't hear about too much with Amazon and Luna, but they've done quite a few things already with some of the gaming stuff that they picked up, like Tomb Raider and Lord of the Rings. So, I almost forget about Luna sometimes because they're just so quiet. Nobody really talks about them, but that might be something to watch as we move forward.
Move like lasagna, bro.
I want to say they have like Prince of Persia 2 or something like that. I'm not really sure.
Down, sorry, cool. Well, I tell you, bro, it's just going to be crazy seeing the next few years because everybody wants to be the place to play.
Yep.
Everybody wants to work with each other, but they don't really want to.
Yep. Everybody wants the content, but they don't want to pay for it, essentially, or deal with it. Like, for example, I know Sony, for example, obviously they would really love to have that Bethesda content, And I'm sure Microsoft's like, "Yo, you can have it, but you're gonna have to put either Game Pass or you're gonna have to sign like a 360 deal with us to
A
get this stuff."
360.
That's pretty much what it's gonna be. That's essentially what
Man
it's
with the
gonna
music
be.
terms right there. If you know, if you know, you know. 360 deal is
But you get it
disrespect.
though. That's what it's gonna be because Microsoft, they got all the leverage. I mean, you saw what they did with Call of Duty at first. They were trying to get that 360 deal at first until Sony kept playing hardball, and I'm sure they probably didn't think it would go the way it did with that whole trial. And now it ended up with I guess Microsoft got a 360 deal when you kind of think about it, because you don't really have any benefits besides marketing until you can make it exclusive in 10 years or 2030, I guess, whatever.
Dang. All right. Well, brother DC, I appreciate you for being here this evening.
Oh no,
We
no,
have like
thank you for inviting me, man. This is on you for having me on. I definitely appreciate it. I love the energy of your show. I love what you're doing, and I don't ever mind supporting. I popped up in your channels and your shows a few different times when you have content up. So I'm always on the lookout when you're live, and I always pop in to support because I have no problem doing that.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. And there's like a million other podcasts going on at the same time. Especially as of recently, everybody popping off on a Thursday night podcast all of a
Yep.
sudden for some reason or whatnot. But that's just the effect of gaming. Gaming is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's just what it is now. Unfortunately, Twitch
Yep.
is changed a little bit, so YouTube probably getting a little bit more gaming
Oh
influx
yeah.
than
I feel like it
a
switches
lot of
every
people
couple
give
months.
it
Like 1 month they're on Twitch, next month they're on YouTube, next they're streaming on TikTok. Now they're streaming on X. Wherever you can get it, you got to get it. I'm sure they'll be on Mixer probably next year. Oh
Oh
wait, Mixer's
man,
dead. My bad. Sorry, I forgot.
yeah, Mixer's gone, man. I
Throw
was
that
gonna
one
say if
out. I
they bring
forgot.
Mixer
My bad.
back, some people are gonna be happy. I know Cozy would be happy. She loved Mixer. She loved her some Mixer. But anyways, brother, um, I have one more thing to ask you to do, but I want you before you leave just to let everybody know where they can find you just one more time.
Yep. So if you're looking for me, you can find me on PlayStation, DC Gaming 5. I play everything. So if you ever want to play some Call of Duty, if you want that Uno smoke, Madden,
He said
you
that
really don't want to
Uno
smoke on me
smoke.
on Madden because I'll beat the brakes off of you anytime, any place, anywhere. I'm on Switch. I'm playing more on Xbox. So if you want to play Halo or anything like that, hit me up. I'm always down to play multiplayer. Does not matter when or where. I am always available, except for this weekend.
And then the one caveat there at the end.
Yeah, except
I
for this
love that.
weekend. So hit me up next week, and we can set something up, play something. If you're looking to grind on any games on PlayStation, I'm always down for that. If you're interested in Monster Hunter, things like that, I'm always down.
All right, that's what's
Always.
up. And then the final thing I'm gonna ask you to do is I want you, Mr. DC Game, to describe gaming in just 3 words.
My favorite hobby.
Damn, that was quick and it was
Yeah.
smooth. They all ran together. I love it because some people just be like, love, passion, experience, and I'm just like, that's
Nah, get that out of
cool,
here. It's my favorite
but it
hobby.
ain't smooth. It ain't smooth though. Yeah,
Never
I
smooth,
mean,
but that one right there, yeah, my favorite hobby. Mm-hmm.
All
It's
right,
having you
y'all.
can think
Well,
on your feet. You know what I mean?
you nailed it, brother. You nailed it. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody that stopped through tonight, and
Shout out
those
to
of
the
you that
chat.
are
Shout out to everybody
joining
that
us.
pulled up.
Absolutely, and then those of you that are watching this after the fact, I appreciate you for sticking it out to the end. I know it's been about 2.5 hours. That's how it goes. Whenever I hit the 2 hour mark, I don't know what happens, but it ends up shifting. I mean to shift it into park, but it ends up going into 6th gear. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, thank you everybody for showing up. This has been a phenomenal podcast this evening with
Make
DC
sure y'all hit
Gaming.
that like button, hit that subscribe button. Follow your boy on Twitter. Make sure y'all hit up him on Twitter, man. He's been doing this for a minute. And there's not a lot of people out here that are actually sitting down and talking to members of the community and finding out what they actually like, why they like it, why they do what they love. And I think we need more of that in this community where people communicating and talking about their passion together because we are more similar than not alike. I don't think I said that right, but I think you get what I'm saying. We don't
Yeah.
have to be fighting over these goddamn consoles, man. Sorry if I'm not supposed to say that, but yeah.
No, you're fine. Cursing
you get
fine.
it. I wish I knew that 2.5 hours ago. It's all good though.
Well, usually people just do it and then they say, "Oh, am I supposed to do that?" Just like you did, but they do that way early.
Well, no, I have like a 90% filter on right now, so that's actually probably a good thing.
My goodness, this man. I can't wait to invite you back for bullshitting because I want you to turn that off.
Ooh. Oh yeah, when you have if I'm on that one now, I'll turn that off completely.
Because I don't know if you ever checked out an episode of Bullshitting, but it is exactly what the name is. A lot of shit. A lot of just flying all over the place. And it's playful disrespect. It isn't like us trying to like get under anybody's skin. But sometimes I got words for Matt, Cozy, or Loke when they're on there. You know,
hey, sometimes you gotta talk to them like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes people need that energy.
Absolutely, especially when they your folks, right? You're supposed to let them know straight up. You know they got a little something on their chin. Tell them to get that shit off of their chin, or smack them upside the head and get it off for them.
Hey, that's something you gotta do. You gotta do sometimes, you know.
Absolutely, but brother, it was a wonderful interview. Thank you so much, DC. Thank you so much to everybody watching. This is your boy Han Solo from TSWS Gaming, letting you know as usual to either keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.